J Squad.
We gotta find. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the That's the first. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue.
All right, what's going on? Starting a little early tonight, so may not have anyone in the chat, but I figured I'd go ahead and have a chill stream today. Yeah, a little relaxing. I think I might start early from now on. Give me 4 hours of time to play. I'm also going to try and be more consistent with my streaming, so I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, like I've been saying before. But this time we're staying at it. We're gonna do all of those days. No strange Sunday streams. I want to get consistent so people will know when to watch me when they want to come in, right? So what we are going to do today, I got a few videos to watch, kind of going through some of the backlog of stuff people have sent me that might seem interesting, but also going to be playing some Dune. All right. Okay, hold on. Let's do this. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Oh. Close that so I can see chat. Mostly I'm just going to be piddling around in Dune. I'm trying to build a more mega structure and in process destroying my old base to do it. As I get ready to get 10 and to get an ornithopter. So, like I also said, if you come in and you're watching behind this thing, I'm going to just start doing open call-ins. If anyone wants to call in, talk about something, things like that, I'm more than willing to do it. I think it can be fun, entertaining. Let's bear with me here. I'm double checking some things. This is boom, boom, boom. There we go. Loaded in just fine. Uh-oh. Oh, don't tell me it's going to be BattlEye again, isn't it? Come on. And I've been having some trouble with BattlEye. Yep, there it is. BattlEye version outdated. Oh, bear with me. Got like one of the best rigs on here. But best rigs you can get for a laptop, we'll say. Best rig you can get for a laptop, but obviously since this game is still having issues, I think there's another way that I have to go through the BIOS to fix it, but I'm not going to do all that right now. I'm just going to get this problem fixed real quick and then get us back up and running. And then we'll start watching some videos while we do a little building. General. Install files. There we go. Binaries. BattlEye. Boom. Then hopefully it's something that Funcom will fix on their own. But this quick little fix at least usually gets me going, usually gets me set up. But yeah, trying for some 4-hour streams. I think that'll give me a little bit more time for some stuff. I like the more even number anyway. There we go. And we'll be having a lot of fun. So one of the videos, we'll go ahead and bring it up while that's waiting to open. Boop, boop, boop. There it is. Is one I've already watched on the channel.
My son. Look.
And that's going to be, whoops, our friend here, Crimes New Roman. In his video, Gamers Don't Understand Video Game Reviews. So this one should be pretty interesting. His content was interesting before. We'll watch it here and see where it goes. I also think I might watch one of Nobody's videos and talk about it, since it's one I wanted to talk about. And come on, Dune. Let's go. Let's get this party started. Bum, bum, ba, da, ba. There it is. Beautiful. I am absolutely like loving Dune. It needs a lot of fixes, I'll say this, but I'll give this to Funcom. They have been very open about the criticism, very transparent, and at least talking about the issues that players have with the game, like the forced PvP, the scout ornithopters being too OP because they can shoot the same missiles as everyone else, and some other things like ground combat not really mattering that much. Everything's up in the air. But they've come out with a letter. Maybe we'll read that later too. Start doing a little bit of following the oh, hold on, let me boom boom boom. No, not window. Oh, actually, is it blocked? Yeah, perfect. Perfect, perfect. Finally started. It only took the first 20 minutes of the stream. We'll go ahead and start the video though. See if we can see what Mr. Crimes or Mr. Roman has to say to us about gamers not understanding reviews.
He's gone. Video game reviews. The thing that generates the most anger per gamer since the invention of video games. And then women, and then black people, and then gay people, and then... So Space Marine 2 came out recently, and
we're already off to a good start. Yep, we do hate the gays, the blacks, and women here. 100%.
Looks real fun, and real pretty, and real cool, and I want to play it, but I'm still really busy throwing Steve out of Windows. Seriously, play Tactical Breach Wizards. That shit is amazing.
That game does look pretty good. I'll give him that. Yeah, it looks like a good indie game.
Amazing. I would also like to offer a sincere apology to my many viewers for my last video. I didn't put in nearly enough feet, which is why I'm extremely pleased.
Oh, God.
That we have developed new technology here on Crimes New Roman for the constant feet cam, in which throughout the entirety of this video,
fuck me,
in the bottom corner will be a continual stream of the grippers. Anyways, as I was saying, Space Marine 2 came out recently and it looks really, really cool. The first one was the most like video game, you know? It was really fun and I'm really excited to play the sequel because it just seems like a grander version of the first one and add some fun, goofy things like multiplayer and co-op so you can fulfill the ultimate male fantasy with you and some friends, which is having stable employment. The first game was hardly a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a really fantastic time, and I am glad to see that overall it's been really well received, except for one review. And people,
is it just one review?
PC Gamer gave Space Marine 2 a 60 out of 100.
Okay.
What's up with that? People are saying that this review sucks for a lot of reasons, like a lot of reasons, but I don't see anybody who appears to be pointing out the one single issue in this review that makes it flawed. Nary a person is offering the true explanation. They're too busy imagining some grand conspiracy around why a game could possibly be rated poorly, when they are the lamest kind of conspiracy to be conspiracizing on. Because the real issue here is this little piece of shit, this thing, this monstrosity made of numbers, made of pros and cons and summaries is true.
Okay, he might be getting into something that I agree with. I absolutely hate the number system with video games. I think it's useless no matter what size it is and no matter who does it. So let's see where he's going.
Truly a user's and a gamer's worst nightmare. See, this summary and numerical value meant to offer a tight representation of some dude's opinion online in regards to how they felt playing a game, I think is one of the worst inventions of all time and responsible for generating so much gamer rage. It could only be rivaled in Anger Per Gamer, or APG, by the concept of women existing. While obviously
I do be hating on women.
This little end cap, this little summary is meant to offer a quick, intuitive way of engaging with a review. Unfortunately, due to how people are, it completely sabotages engaging with the review process. It is completely counterintuitive to having people engage with the concept that a review is simply a person talking about their own subjective experience with a thing that can inform people about that thing. And sure, I know what people are going to say, something, TikTok, attention economy, like,
God damn it.
People don't got time to read or whatever. But anybody who spends 2 seconds thinking about the sheer diversity of experiences within a medium and even the sub-experiences within those experiences will realize that trying to condense down these insane complexities that differ intensely from subject to subject into one number is completely ridiculous. The summary and pros and cons that people sometimes add to are also highly prone to be taken out of context. And I think this is no better illustrated than the infamous IGN Too Much Water incident of 2014. 2014 was 10 years ago. That's fucked up, man. In IGN's Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega movie review, one of the things that the reviewer listed as being a con was too much water. The internet exploded. However, to anybody who actually read the review or played the game, and this was a remake of a 12-year-old game, by the way, understands that the immensely skewered balance of the game towards water types made it incredibly unfun to play. It took a lot of the wind out of the sails of build crafting because basically all you needed was one electric Pokemon to carry you through the endless gauntlet of people with water types. They had every chance to correct the balance of this 12-year-old game that they painstakingly remade, yet they neglected to, further reinforcing the flaws of that game that have been well known for over a decade. But a lot of people didn't be reading. See, the invention of or the summary / pros and cons should mean, in an ideal world, the people don't really pay that much attention to it and instead read the full review, because the issues of one 6 out of 10 game are obviously not going to be comparable in basically any way to another 6 out of 10 game. even though some people love to try to equate that. And that's not even counting the fact
Okay.
that probably the two people reviewing those separate 6 out of 10 games aren't even the same person.
So is his arguments, he's saying that it's bad because people aren't watching or reading the whole reviews. I mean, I can agree with that, but it's just as much the journalist's job to make them want to read the review or to give a good summary besides too much water to do the review, right? You need more than that. Like, that was such a bad, to me, that was a bad example, because it tells the reader nothing about the 6 out of 10, right? If you're going to do numbers, you should have things in there like, I don't know if they still do it because I don't read a lot of reviews anymore, but back in the day, it would be like, this was good, this was good, this was good, this was bad, this was poor. There's usually the little things. And yeah, they're trying to be funny with the water joke, I suppose, and retarded gamers get mad, but it's all about completely lost my train of thought. I mean, there's what they're wanting is honestly better coverage. Like, I don't necessarily fault them for that. But that's kind of what. Let's see if he changes it any.
Therefore, completely widening the gap of what that 6 out of 10 could mean for the individual. But of course, we don't live in an ideal world where there's cat boys for everybody and people read video game reviews before reacting to them. Something, goldfish attention span, TikTok brain rot. Yeah, whatever. And it's
so another thing too is like a lot of these game reviews now that are coming out. Like I have my issues, I suppose, with like brain dead articles that are trying to talk about, the feminism and blah 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 of gaming. But when you're wanting a review, you want just a review of the game, right? You could do a philosophical review, but there's a lot of times like you have this stuff where it's like, it doesn't treat women well. And it's like, come on, that's kind of brain dead take. It's not really telling me about the game unless I'm some soy whatever that doesn't want to engage with it, right?
It's so easy to tell a lot of the times that a lot of people just like don't even bother to read the review because the insane amount of cope that they just ooze typing angrily online. People will make attacks on the reviewer, people will make attacks on the outlet, people will make attacks at game journalism on the...
Okay, just saying stuff like that isn't an attack. This is why we don't trust journalists. It's a job for sissies and liars. Okay, yeah, they're mean comments, but they're not attacks. Come the fuck on. Like...
So much coping over some guy not giving a thing that they liked a better number. But what's extra annoying is when a lot of people do kind of seem to read the review, but they didn't get the score it wanted. So therefore, they just do this shit anyways.
And I'm finding that the news media, the general like gaming news media, is just shitting on the game, which makes no sense to me. And it's something I've seen for a while. I just don't like games journalism. As a game developer, as a game player, I think games journalism is in the trashiest state I've ever seen it. I think it's worthless 99% of the time. Like, if you look at the way that this went down, Space Marine 2...
I hate pirate software, but yeah, I can agree a lot of times that most reviews are probably pretty worthless. And this includes from YouTubers nowadays. Like, there's a few out there that I've seen that they just tell you about the game and then they don't give a number to it. Those I can see because it lets you see the game. But I get more out of, like, if I'm iffy about a game, I get more by going to a stream and watching someone play it for a little while, or watch YouTube videos of gameplay and different things like that, than I do from games reviews.
Who got a 60 out of 100 from PC Gamer. Gollum got 63 out of 100.
I know there is a perverse incentive in PC game journalism to begin with. I've heard this talked about where to be able to get early access, to be able to get these positive things, a lot of these reviewers have to position things in certain ways to even be able to get this, or they'll get kicked out, they'll lose their ability. So I already know that there's a lot of some games, some studios, some games won't let people in unless they do positive things. So that could contribute to a game in which is universal.
Access journalism, the problem that people have been bitching about forever in gaming.
Hated getting a better review because, or else if they don't play ball with this one, they're not going to get the next opportunity.
I think the thing that's really interesting about this is it's leading to a scenario where the general public doesn't trust games journalism at all. So there's no benefit that's coming from it. And I'm surprised that game developers keep giving advanced copies to these companies because it's not bringing them value. It's these companies just shitting on the game, like completely. And it's not even swaying players. Even if the game gets reviewed super highly, people just go, well, IGN just gives everything 9 out of 10 anyway. Who gives a shit? I'm going to go look at the reviews on Steam. So, like, there's no real value happening here. And I think it's because they've led themselves into this weird corner where they have not enough time.
That's another good thing coming out of Pirate, which is usually fucking his takes are retarded. Why would, when every game is above a 7.5, or like Golem matches up with a game that everybody loves, is their review really doing anything? Like, are you really saying anything? And I've heard people talk about, oh, well, anything above 7 means it's technically working. And that's just fucking cope and bullshit. You should be able to give a game a 3. Or you should be brave enough as a journalist to give a game a fucking 3.
Time to review a game genuinely. They have not enough skill to review the game genuinely. And because of that, they don't have a good take on the game.
At the time of recording, this clip has almost 900,000 views in like under a week. And the comments are absolutely filled with people echoing this opinion. It's kind of hard to believe that a channel with over 2 million followers is pushing a narrative that's just so detached from reality, particularly when like a lot of their other clips.
What makes it detached from reality, though? Like, it doesn't match up. Like, there are games that are successes with the player base that are getting like the same score or similar score to Golem, to, just like he said. You can't go by reviews most of the time because you find out later, oh, the game was good or the game was not good because it got a good review.
Are like very level-headed. Like, they had a fantastic take on Concord, so it feels like this score on Warhammer is almost personal. Like, it's almost like this guy had his son eaten by game journalists too.
So you just don't like his fucking take on this specific Space Marine one, and because you like Space Marine, which I agree, it's a good game. I think PC Gamer's, idea is dog shit. but it's still, his opinion, and I don't actually disagree with that opinion.
Also, Capri Sun, hit me up for a fucking sponsorship, please. I beg you. I would do anything to be sponsored by you. There is everything in this clip, dude. Everything that I was talking about here. We got the bashing on mainstream game journalism. We got the trying to falsely equate the numerical summaries between 2 different games with 2 different reviewers. We got assuming reviewers.
Well, yeah, if it's supposed to be based off of what you should purchase for the game, you shouldn't be getting 2 fucking games that are vastly different as in the takes of being, good games or popular games or games people want to play. Like, Golem was an absolute disaster. So why is Space Marine 2 rated so low?
Were paid or incentivized to review a game a certain way. They don't know what they're talking about, that they are untrustworthy, that they got no gamer skill. What I'm particularly shocked to hear is that these people even...
Okay, who's ever... All I have to say is Cuphead. The guy who gave Cuphead a bad review because he wasn't skilled enough to play the game. Yes, I think if you're going to give, like, I guess it's not a requirement, right? You don't have to have a degree in playing games, but if you're going to review a game, you should have those. You should know how to play the game. You should be able to get through the game, on all of its levels. Like, there are some people who will go out there and do a review, and they'll play it on medium and then play it on hard to see the difference between it, because there's hardcore gamers and there's gamers who like it in between. It's just like, if you can't beat the first boss in Elden Ring, why are you making a review on Elden Ring?
Even go so far as to say that they wonder why game companies give reviewers codes in the first place, particularly since this guy says he's a game developer. Like, I'm legitimately shocked that that's even a question, because for so many people, so many average Joes, being able to go to a general conglomerate of news on a specific topic that you're interested in and filter out all of the noise in the hellscape that is social media to find perceivedly trustworthy, relatively informed opinions or previews on things you might be interested in. That's just marketing, baby. Straight up.
It's funny how the Cuphead guy actually had decent reviews when he's playing SMTH. Is on his field. His publication fucked him over hard multiple times. Yeah, I agree. I almost think, like, sometimes I feel like when they have, like, a lot of these journalistic groups will have just a gaming journalist guy, but I almost feel like you want to treat it like sports. Like, why would you have a football player commentating on basketball if he's got no basketball experience, right? So if it's not a game that the guy plays, have somebody who does play that game, right? It just makes sense. You don't want, that guy ruined his whole career, or probably not his whole career, but he got such a bad name for himself in the gaming industry over, his skill in there. I gotta build a new bike because I let mine get destroyed.
I find so many games through that shit. I've found so many games through that shit. Like, half the things I've played, I probably wouldn't have even found.
What the fuck are these? Spider Heck, Talos. Good games, all of them. I don't know about Spider Heck. I guess I've heard, and I don't know about Dwarf, but I've heard Talos is pretty good. And then Singularis, Signal, whatever. Build the vehicle backup tool. I know. What was going on was I was picking up materials and I just ran off, and then a storm came in and pretty much destroyed it. So it was my own fault, but I have one. I do have a vehicle backup tool. I was just too lazy to drive my vehicle home.
If it weren't for going to websites like
It's more like there's so many people to play and review that have so little time to play the games and then to write articles. Well, yeah, there's a certain amount of time. Like, there's a reason they want to get these reviews early so that they can get the article out there before everyone else. There's this rush to do it, and I think a lot of times you end up missing the point. Do I still have? I probably don't. Boop boop boop. It's instead of good gaming review, I only have that one. It's all about getting it out as quick as possible, like all news articles.
IGN or Kotaku or Polygon, and seeing people talk about them. Okay, first conspiratorial thing that I need to talk about here is the claim that the general gaming news media, whatever he means by that, is shitting on the game. I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about, because essentially everywhere I have seen, this game is getting really...
Okay, this could be this is probably a better point. Yeah, they're just talking about PC Gamer, and I think you can shit on PC Gamer for that, absolutely. But yeah, they got majority okay reviews. I think it's higher than a 8, like
positive
it was.
Coverage. I even went so far as to check the VOD to find more context to this. I found nothing. This feels like borderline fantasy, unless I'm somehow missing some mainstream gaming news media. I mean, shit, even the Gamersphere on YouTube love this game. Like, I'm not seeing anything here. Please, Pirate Software, if you somehow watch this video, please tell me, where is the general gaming news media that you're talking about? Are the general gaming news media in the room with us right now? Secondly, being displeased with one review to the point of shitting on the entirety of general gaming news media and assuming that there must be some grand scheme at play is one of my personal favorite copes that I see online, and completely absurd. You see various flavors of this conspiracy around, from game reviewers being paid to give certain scores, or game reviewers being just straight up dog shit. These things bounce around.
Where's my hole?
Honestly, these things can have legitimately severe consequences. They can be so damaging and get gamers so riled up at these absurd concepts that even when some reviewer or person in the industry posts a humorous clip of them being bad at a genre that they never really engage with, gamers explode. I'm sure many people remember.
He's bringing up, but that's kind of the whole point. Like, gamers want to be informed about the games they're going to buy. Most people nowadays don't have money. Like, there's so many games out there that they don't have the funds to buy every game that's out there, so they want to spend their money wisely, right? Or on things that they want to enjoy playing. Nothing sucks more than buying a game, and which you can get refunds now, but nothing sucks more than buying a game and then realizing you don't like it, or you would have wanted to go with something else. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of how it works. Gamers want to be informed.
Remember the infamous Cuphead?
Yeah, and with that, big games are getting more and more expensive. You're right, Kimoji. It's just the way it is. Like, you could spend $80 to $100 is what it looks like it's going to come up to be on a game that just isn't doing great. We'll take these. We'll take all of them. Boop. And push that there. So, I mean, why would you want to read a review that doesn't give you the correct information out of a game? You end up missing out, which I guess missing out could be a good thing. I just bought 2 games today for about $5. Well, see, that's what's great. There is an open market for indie games, but not everybody's into all those. You know what I mean? The average gamer may not be. I love indie games to death, but especially there's so many good ones out there too. Boom, boom. That's probably what I did. All right, let's refuel you, bud, and get on the road here. Get some materials. Yep. Perfect. Let's keep going.
Head guy who struggled to get past the tutorial. That was Dean Takahashi, a veteran of the games industry with an over 25-year-long career, who posts a lot about technology. And he was at a game show, recorded some footage of him trying out Cuphead, a genre he never really plays, and uploaded it online thinking it would be really funny. But gamers didn't think it was funny. Gamers exploded and did a racism and brought in a sexism because they love comparing bad things to.
Yes, we did, because we like our racism and sexism. What is this shit? Yeah, he thought it would be funny, and guess what? People made fun of him for it. That's kind of what it was.
Women for some reason.
Sure, you have those retards there's always those retards that go overboard, but I mean, the gaming industry is what it is, right?
And just kind of in general made this guy's life an absolute fucking nightmare over something that was supposed to be kind of funny. Some people just don't take to certain kinds of games, so of course they're probably not going to be reviewing them. I mean, I've beaten literally every single Souls game multiple times, but don't fucking ask me to play any platformer or I will look like a child, okay? These conspiracies were...
Well, that's kind of the point, right? Most of my Steam library is in like $20 range. There's a few 60s, 70s, but I only remember to buy one. Yeah, I get that. I've seen like you talk about games, and your games are always like strange indie games to me, not stuff that's normally my cup of tea. God, you see this game? This game's on fire. So yeah, I mean, there is a point, you know, to finding around it. But hold on, what was this guy saying? Because I lost my track of thought there.
Consequences are continually thrown out by people who get a little angry over bad things to women for some reason, and just kind of in general made this guy's life an absolute fucking nightmare over something that was supposed to be kind of funny. Some people just don't take to certain kinds of games, so of course they're probably not going to be reviewing them. I mean, I've beaten literally every single Souls game multiple times, but don't fucking ask me to play any platformer or I will look like a child, okay?
Well, and that's kind of the point. That's what he was getting to. Like, that's kind of the point. Like, we want somebody to review the game that knows about the game, someone who has knowledge of how to play a platformer, what a platformer should be. Is this a good platformer that I should choose? Right? Not some guy who got on there and doesn't play platformers and can't give an honest, you know, can't give a, I guess, informed, that sounds like a gay way to say it, but can't give a good opinion, can't tell you his take on platformers because he's not a platformer guy.
Conspiracies with real consequences are continually thrown out by people who get a little angry over a number.
This guy's just mad that gamers are gamers. Platformers are kind of odd to review because of how many flavors it can come with. That I agree with. I mean, there's a lot of things that are like that, like action RPG. Well, you got the isometric ones like Diablo and Path of Exile, and then you've got the like third person ones. So I think a lot of games are like that. But I think if you have at least the basic knowledge of how platformers work, you can work around that. I'm not saying you have to be an expert at every single platform type out there, but you should at least know how a platformer works and what makes it good. And then you can talk about the things that make it unique for the type of platform it is.
Number that doesn't really mean anything. I think it's pretty fair to say that PC Gamer Guy actually does know what he's doing since he played through the entire game in all of the modes. Maybe the core design choices of the game were not something that he could easily mesh with as opposed to other people. Maybe that's just like his opinion.
But the core of the you don't have the same air control on Sonic as you do that you have with Mega Man 2, for example. Right. But I still think like what he's talking about, the basics, the core basics of it, right? You can at least work with that. Like, hey, this and this and this, you know, core mechanics of Sonic movement versus Mega Man movement, right? It's you're talking about air control, but you can still get the basic of the third party and different things like that. And I think if you have the basics, then talking about those smaller things or those details are what's the word? They come easier, right? So I like this guy, but his soy levels leak too much. Yeah, I mean he brings up things that make me think, right? Like I liked his last video. He makes me cringe a little bit every time I listen to him, because it's like, oh well, gamers are just kind of dumb and they shouldn't have criticisms or be mad about something.
That also a lot of the other positive reviews talk about in some way. And that brings me to my third point, which is if people actually read reviews and understood the subjectivity of the opinion that is going into them, we'd all be a lot happier. They'd see them less as an object expression of fact that somehow makes these people reading it feel personally attacked, as opposed to some guy's relative opinion in a sea of relative opinions designed to inform you, the buyer, on whether or not it feels like this product will appeal to your particular sensibilities.
Well, see, that's one thing I think that a lot of people have problems with, is they want just a review of the game, right? They don't necessarily want a lot of the other hubbub and other shit that comes with it, like putting in, say, something like it's it's objectifying women or things like that. I think separate articles for that are fine, right? I'll criticize them as they come up, but I get his point. Game reviews having an issue with people not being good at the type of game genre, or even the more egregious, not playing the game. Yeah. I mean, let me see here. Let me read that again. But I get his point of game reviews having an issue of people not being good at the type, or yeah. Well, I think his review is like, even if they aren't good at the type, we should still like listen to their review. Like the cup guy definitely didn't need all of the bullshit that came through to him, right? If you do something like that, just prepare to be mocked, and you have to ignore the really egregious retarded people. But when it comes to a game review, if you're wanting to have your audience read it, if you're wanting people to go back to reading reviews, then it needs to be something that they want to read. Like, oh, if I go into IGN, I'll get straightforward analysis of the game, and get a good idea of what I'm looking for. Where right now that really isn't the case. It feels like there's, at least if they're trying to go back to that, it's hard to fight back to it. But for a long time, it wasn't. It was just, none of this makes sense. Why are these games so similar? Why is nothing under a 6 or a 7? Why is why are they talking about things that aren't even part of the game? Or why are we talking about political feminism and things like that? I get the idea you're allowed to do it, but just don't be upset when gamers stop reading it and just look at your score and go, okay, I'll go watch someone else.
Just so happened the PC Gamer guy had some legitimate issues. Repetitive gameplay made somewhat frustrating by the continual melee execution mechanic, long-range combat feeling less useful than it could be because of the aforementioned execution mechanic to stay alive, inconsistent parries, the AI squad being dog shit, reasonably bland level design, particularly in a lot of the co-op missions, and also maybe a little less content than there could be around those missions since they aren't that fun to play. A lot of people seem to think the big roadmap counts for something, and it kind of does, but ultimately you're paying for game content right now. You're not paying for game content in the future. And that's why, me personally, I haven't gotten the game yet, because I want to wait for more content to come out. And I'm still defenestrating Steve. And to me personally, like, this sounds exactly like Space Marine 1. And I totally get why some people bounced off it, because it's such a video game that you just kind of turn your brain off and have fun for a while. It's very shallow, but it's fun. And it's completely understandable how some people can find that not fun. It's far from high art, but I think
Did anyone find like Space Marine not fun? I think the problem was just that one article, right? Even the anti-wokers didn't try and go after the game, and it was clear that they could have, with things like there being more, a white guy and a black guy. They love to go after a white guy, black guy, and Asian guy, right? So I mean, it's people are mad at that specific reviewer, I guess. Why did you say this game sucks when it doesn't?
idea that you can't criticize something because it's meant to be a unga bunga kill game. That's kind of ridiculous.
Oh, I see what he's saying. I kind of paused Andy a little bit there. Well, yeah, you can be critical of it. Just people can be critical back of your criticism, right?
Because action and games can be amazing in every arena. You don't have to leave the story behind. You don't have to have kind of bland level design. You can do it all. I love you so much, Titanfall 2. Mwah. I also do want to provide clarification that while every review is largely just some guy's feelings, some of those feelings can be more justified and more well articulated than others. PC Gamer Guy does a really good job providing examples and justifying why he feels the way he feels about these particular problems. And I think that's nice. That's great. I understand him. I can see where he's coming from. We're vibing. Every reviewer worth their salt can actually do this. And you can always tell the difference between a review of somebody who does this and cares about providing a fair, objectively balanced review, as opposed to essentially like reactionary opinions. There's nuance and care put into reviews from people who legitimately understand and love the medium and want to provide fair, reasonable critique to creators to create better. They're aware of their own biases, their expertise.
Okay, but we're not talking like reviews. While yes, creators do read into them, just saying that this guy's is objectively better isn't true. Like, obviously a lot of people didn't like it and they thought his takes were dog shit. Especially when you compare it to like the rest of the world. And now I'm not saying that every gaming company or every company should match up in line, but just expect if people don't like your takes, then they're going to say something about it. And yeah, I get it. People don't read reviews anymore, but that to me is a fault of the gaming industry, or the journalist industry, doing crazy things with game reviews. I got to get another one of those. Guess we're heading back to base after this one, right?
And their preferences, and are able to frame a review and their analysis of a piece of media, a piece of art, with all of that in mind, while still being able to communicate to the viewer, to you and I, what that experience would be like. Because if they didn't, every review would just be pointless, reactionary garbage. Star Wars Outlaws, a game I could not care less about, came out a couple months ago. And just listen to clips from these 2 YouTube reviews on the story and tell me which one you think is the better reviewer.
The writing too is almost terminally wounded by Ubisoft's uncompromising focus on structure over storytelling. The first 2/3 of this game, it honestly feels like there's almost no
Oh god, I see what he's
The
doing.
non-linear structure doesn't allow plot events and character interactions to be built sequentially. It only comes together in the final third when the game starts being a linear experience, and at that point, it's fantastic.
Overall, it is a complete and total joke. You can tell they threw this shit together in probably the span of a few months, and you could definitely tell that a woman wrote this shit, because not only...
Okay. Yes, this isn't the same thing though, right? He's using like an anti-woker fucking bullshit. Whose clip is this? I don't recognize the voice. I don't know which one it is, but like this is clearly, yes, Smash JT, the anti-woker guys don't give good criticism for games. I agree, but this isn't the same as like IGN versus this guy. Like, does what's his face, the first clip, does he even do a numbered score? Because if not, that's kind of what I think is the problem, is like the number score sets this kind of idea for what it's supposed to be, versus just doing a review that that says, hey, these are the things about the game. Like you could get rid of the number, keep the cliff notes, and then maybe people would go in and read more, if that makes sense. Boom, boom, boom.
Dialogue insufferably cringe, but almost every single major character without fail is a boss bitch. In fact, about 70% of the stormtroopers you'll encounter are women, because that's definitely something that was extremely prominent in all of the Star Wars movies, is female stormtroopers. But yeah, you could just tell this is woke as shit. Like, all the characters are super diverse. The only white men...
Now, if you think I'm cherry picking, please go watch them both, come back in an hour and a half. and type out a nice lengthy apology. The first review was from SkillUp, and it's very obvious why his channel has grown so much, why he has become quite well regarded in the industry, because the context and nuance that he wants to give in regards to reviewing everything is just so lovely. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the aisle, we have angry reactionary channels like Old Griffin over there, who really only care about catering to a specific angry misogynistic audience. Obviously this isn't all
I mean,
viewers, but let's be honest, we've all seen the gamer sphere. We know what's going on over there. Objectivity is only a thing in their imaginations. The reason why PC
okay. Just calling those guys gamers, though, isn't the truth of it, right? Like we all know that they don't have good takes and probably never will. But I think they're bad comparisons. Like, let's compare. Man, is this starting to get crazy? Yeah, because the Coriolis storm. I hope I don't lose all of this. Fuck. But yeah, it's not the same type of analysis at all. It's kind of lazy analysis. Like the anti-wokers are lazy, but some of the games journalists are pretty damn lazy themselves when it comes to stuff like this. Is what I'm trying to say.
Is good at what he does, why magazines hire people like him, and why people like SkillUp have become so well regarded in the industry is because they know what they are doing and know how to write a rationalized review regardless of how playing the
People being bad at video games versus too many minorities. Two sides of the retarded games review. Yeah, agreed. Oh, man. It's just... gaming journalism just needs to go away, I think. Like, well, that's not true. That sounded like Smash JT. I don't know. There needs to be something different, I suppose. And I don't know what that difference is.
The game affected them. Sorry, I'm just finishing lunch. Don't mind me. PC Gamer Guy was allowed to write that review because he's good at this. SkillUp got popular because he's good at this. They give nuanced, balanced takes on a game from their own perspective, as opposed to someone who, I don't know, would make a story review section of the video that's literally just summarizing the entire story, spoilers and all, for 10 minutes, and then essentially saying it's obviously wrote by women as some sort of moral signifier to indicate that it's bad. This is one of the major differences between major publications and smaller YouTube reviews. Like, there is a level of quality control.
Okay, I get it. SkillUp has been around a while and he's earned his respect for it, but saying that Griffin Games is comparable to small game reviewers, I think is a little off base. Like, there are probably some really good small games reviewers, but no one knows about them because, well, the market's already saturated, right? How many games review channels are out there? That's why I didn't want to do that with my channel. I didn't want to be just like everyone else. And I like talking about, bullshit, drama, and crazy stuff.
A lot of people who just kind of make reviews online are fine, whether they are politically charged or not. A lot of YouTube reviewers are really not that great at making objective reviews and really make it more content, misogynistic tendencies aside. And make no mistake, I'm not implying that you have to be employed by a big publisher or have a big channel in order to be a good reviewer. I mean, shit, I only got like 400 subs or whatever, I'm the best. But as I said before, there's a certain indicator of quality that you've been vetted to ensure that you will provide a pretty fair and balanced review on a thing that you are reviewing if you are affiliated with some kind of major organization or you've developed a very, very strong reputation. Again, average people are lazy. They just want to find that nice conglomerate that they can go to, the couple people they trust. Baba booey. Not everybody there is obviously the best. I mean, my favorite YouTube movie reviewer is this lady with 70,000 subs who just like sits on her floor but gives outstanding reviews and analysis of films. She's fantastic. Deep Focus Lens, highly recommend. That's another thing that really bothers
I'll check her out. I'm sure it's probably really soy though.
me about this whole number summary system is it really disincentivizes people to develop a healthy parasocial relationship, if you will, with a particular reviewer or person that you can reliably go to kind of cut through all the noise. Not because you necessarily agree with all of what this person is saying, even though probably your taste will overlap, but they are reliable, they are consistent, and you can understand if you will like something based off of how they describe it, even if they don't. No reviewer will perfectly match your preferences, but having one that's real close is very nice. Particularly if you want to avoid reading the brain rot that is general community comments on almost any piece of media. And while it is a double-edged sword, it is really cool that like basically anybody can just kind of start reviewing things and then get pretty good at it and like develop a following. And like that's just neat. That's the power of the internet. Of course, they can also not improve and just settle into a echo chamber of making money from racist, misogynistic grifters, but you know,
That's what I'm going to do because I want to make money.
different strokes for different folks. At the end of the day, a review is largely just some dude's opinion. And it's up to you, the reader, to determine if that opinion has value to you. If it's well thought out, if it is useful, whether you agree with it is completely irrelevant. But to understand what the reviewer is saying and where they're coming from, that is what's important. I know I'm gonna like Space Marine 2. I'm gonna have a fun little time, and I'm probably gonna have the exact same opinion on it as I had the first one, which is it's probably like fine, but it's like a really fun fine, you know? And for your own mental health, if you ever see a review that you disagree with, be it positive or negative, and you think anything other than, I guess, please rethink your thought processes, because being angry to the point of conspiracy around video game reviews.
The best reviews are the niche YouTubers, in my opinion. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, I like going and, like I said, my favorite thing is to just go around and watch, oh God, watch other content creators or streamers, especially. I like to watch streamers because they're playing the game while they're kind of giving their review of it, right? But come on. There we go. This is what I want. So, but yeah, it's I lost train of thought. Yeah, there's you can get some guys who really know what they're talking about. I just realized I'm about to die. That really know what they're talking about, really have a good take on gaming. And a lot of times I think it's because some of them are like really passionate about the thing, where I'm not sure that all journalists that get into gaming are really that passionate about it. Oh, I'll just go over here since I'm fucking this all up.
Bro, what are you doing? What's happening? What's going on over there? Games journalism is not beholden to some shadow power that is influencing reviews like a great puppet master, okay? It's just a bunch of dudes who really like video games, who probably have played more than the average person because it's their job to play games on the fucking clock, which a lot of us work really hard to hide from our employers.
I don't know that that's completely true, we'll say. I mean, they probably have to write other articles besides just the games. Like, I don't know that there's reviewers that just review, right? Is this considered protected? I don't know. We're gonna fuck some shit up here. But yeah, it's... I don't know that they have a lot of more experience than like that gamer who Just that random gamer kid who plays a ton, or even some people who, do it for a living. Like streamers get a lot of it, but I don't know that every games journalist gets that much time to play. Unless there's a review, in which case they usually have to knock it out in like 48 hours, the game and a review.
If anyone from my job happens to see this, that's a joke. I don't do that for surezies. And outside of just video game reviews, there's some legitimately just excellent games journalism out there. Like most recently, I read an article about criticizing the Plucky Squire for it being a little too handholdy, and I thought it was really well written. Jason Schreier is always cooking on his sick investigative reporting into these big dog shit companies that we all love to hate. Gamers really don't like Kotaku, but they have, in my opinion, some of the best articles covering
Okay. The reason he likes Kotaku is not because they have the most nuanced, it's because they have a very lefty tinge. I mean, I always look like a Kotaku simp with a lot of the arguments I've been making nowadays, but I don't think the coverage that I've read over the years is any good. And even like their recent stuff where they've kind of backed down and just done reviews, they're not great reviews.
Topics, particularly around things that might be related to us LGBT folk, that I think are really good. I mean, I don't know anybody in their right mind who would assume that non-mainstream stuff is any better than mainstream game stuff. I mean, if you spend like 10 seconds in a lot of the non-mainstream game places, like, you'll kind of see some immediate red flags. Like I see this website that...
Okay, hold on. Viewership data shows that Lord of the Rings and the Rings of Power total watch time declined by over 51% in its third week.
Park Place or whatever it is. Like the first half...
Oh yeah, Park Place is the Kotaku of the anti-woke. I agree there.
Half of this article is just a pretty normal breakdown of Ubisoft stock tanking after the release of Star Wars Outlaws, with some like, quotes from random people at the company or whatever. And then at the very end, with literally no warning at all, they just immediately jump in to this like anti-woke quote, contributing wokeness to the reason.
That's like, okay. That's like saying you go to Kotaku for anything, and they surprise you with lefty politics, progressivism. Yeah, if you go to Park Place, that's what you're going to get. That's their type of news style. As shitty as that news style is, that's what they do.
Why the stock fell because of all the woke in the game, and this is just from some like random YouTube guy, like completely unaffiliated with Ubisoft, completely unaffiliated with the stock market. This is just some...
Well, yeah, okay. If I have a gaming journalist, I don't want them to necessarily be affiliated with the company that they're doing reviews on, because anybody in that situation could be compromised in the way that they're going to give the review that's positive towards the guy they're with, right?
Some random pull quote from some random loser on YouTube who is somehow meant to give authenticity to the big narrative that they're trying to spin, that like them making the character not as hot as she could be is part of the reason why the game made the big company's stock fall. It's completely insane. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna stick with Skill Up. I'm gonna keep reading.
Okay, but Skill Up was just a shitter online. Like, I agree, the anti-woke stuff is brain dead, but there's so much more out there than just these anti-wokers. That's why I say he very much cherry-picked the reviews that are out there, because, like Kamoji was saying, there's some niche YouTubers out there that get great analysis. You can also watch a guy actually play the game and get, a good feel for what's going on in the game at that moment. So why why listen to a games journalist that's going to give you like the runaround? So, but that was Crimes New Roman. I like watching his videos. We'll probably end up watching more over the period of time. I'd like to talk to him one day, though I don't know that he would like to talk with me. Bum, bum, bum. Now what do we have next here? Boop. Okay, what are you doing? Stop that. Watch later. We'll go ahead and watch this one.
Most of you already probably know.
Yeah, if you know who that voice is, this is Nobody. So I've been going over the Alyssa Mercante case. I still technically have Nobody's section to go over, though I'm going to wait a little bit before I go back over it. Maybe when the next section of it pops up to be a little bit more relevant to what we're talking about. But he claims that he got doxxed by Alyssa Mercante, right? He claims that she's the one who doxxed him because she put his full name into the court documents. Even though he doxxed himself first, and it was actually another party that doxxed him. So, so we're going to go through his little thing here. I've already watched this. I'm going to be straightforward with you. I've already watched it. I don't particularly like it, but I want to give some of my takes on it here in public. So here we go.
Alyssa Mercante and her lawyers put me in 12 pages of this new legal document that said my real name 77 times in this new legal addendum that was filed for the Alyssa Mercante v. Smash JT case. Well, technically 76 because her lawyers misspelled my name one time, because these lawyers are clearly competent. I'm a new creator who made the least amount of content about her. And other than this video you're watching now, addressing the false allegations they made up between myself and Smash JT, before the making of this video you're watching now, I had only made 2 videos about her. One going over an article from an old college newspaper she used to write for about being addicted to fame, and the other that addressed her college dissertation, where I focus on a particular game called Sabbat that praised communism, genital mutilation, body mutilation, home invasion.
God. I watched this video and it's a fucking dissertation from like a 20-year-old back in the day. Oh, God damn it. Again, I can't do it at night every time. But it's not like, it's such a nothing burger. We maybe go back and watch that one too. But yeah, he's nitpicking stuff in her stuff to make some kind of argument against her. It's really bad. So this isn't a good start.
Animal-human hybrids and satanic rituals. I'm not going to go line by line in this addendum, but you can DM me if you would like a copy of it. I'd rather not say my real name anymore on my own channel. This legal addendum accuses Smash JT of directing my actions as a content creator to make content with the intent to perpetuate a machine of harassment towards Alyssa Mercante, and claims that we did this for some monetary gain. I want to be clear that Smash JT has never paid me or directed me.
This was the first point. This is bullshit. When she's talking about monetary gain, she's not talking that Smash JT is paying Nobody to make articles about Alyssa Mercante. He is talking about, or the lawyer is talking about, how y'all make videos and you have become monetized from making these videos, right? It's not some big conspiracy. They're saying that you have made money off of this content of, we'll say, harassing Alyssa Mercante.
To do any content at any time for any reason. In this document, they say that I revealed my name and face on Smash JT's live stream because not only was their addendum written before doxing other creators on this day, but on the same day, I was doxed by someone on the platform X that went by the username Dog on a Train, who was going to other creators' pages asking if I was the individual known as JWatt. If anything, they were informing them that I was JWatt, who was one of the moderators for Smash JT's channel, which I am. This user later tagged Alyssa Mercante with this information, planned to make a video to dox my identity, and eventually found the gifts and go that Smash JT made for me back in November of 2024. And rather than allowing this dog on a train individual to make a video on me, I decided not to give him the satisfaction and revealed my face before he could. This officially doxed my real name and attached it to my character on my channel known as Nobody onto the internet. This ended my anonymity as a YouTuber, officially. Unfortunately, the Dog on a Train account has been deleted, it seems, after they had accomplished their mission of doxing me. And currently, I have no screenshots. But many times this document says, on observation and belief, which can mean they believe this from a source, testimony, or other means. But believe me when I say that if this goes to trial, I can't wait to get my hands on Discovery. From here on out, I'm going to lay down the timeline and the facts in regards to my relationship with Smash JT to squash these accusations.
So they're squashing the accusations that Smash JT and him work together and make videos on Alyssa Mercante, right? So that's kind of where we're at. Let's see how it goes.
And the important context these lawyers decided to withhold. I started to notice Smash JT's YouTube channel sometime in November of 2023 during the Completionist saga. Look it up because I'm not going to explain it. And started enjoying his content. I eventually became more vocal during his live streams during the summer of 2024. And even sent him a shirt and a few other products from my Etsy store when I reached out to him for his address in July of 2024. Sometime in July, I updated my alt YouTube and X account to the known Nobody Has Spoken handle and donned a ski mask and goggles to hide my identity. During this time, I was aware of Alyssa Mercante, but was making other kinds of content, which we will get into later. In regards to Mercante at the time before all this, I only remember her as an insane person that randomly harassed Smash JT's wife on Facebook unprompted.
Okay, hold on.
With no rhyme or reason.
Okay. This is the first part that really pisses me off. Let's go back here through these emails. We're going into read mode, ladies and gentlemen. So, let's go back to the beginning. So his thing was regularly harasses Alyssa Mercante and has on multiple occasions. Let's make sure I get my words right.
Harassed Smash JT's wife on Facebook. I only remember during this time I was aware of Alyssa Mercante at the time before all this. I only remember her as an insane person that randomly harassed Smash JT's wife on Facebook unprompted with no rhyme or reason.
Okay. 4 clips. All 4 of them should be instances of Alyssa Mercante harassing Smash JT's wife. All right, we'll start here. If you notice, this is clipped, right? The top area right there. That's because this is a part of Alyssa's message that was sent there. We go forward. This is just a tweet. This man has been talking about executing me in the virtual reality for 2 months. This is who you're platforming. You're a piece of shit. Is this harassment? I mean, if you're a complete pussy, it is. Let's continue. Oh, look, it's another section of the one message, or the one group of messages, we'll say, that were sent to Smash's wife at the same time. Let's continue. Oh, look, there's the top of it. You see how maliciously he split that up into 3 separate pictures to make it look like Alyssa has been harassing Smash JT's wife? And one of them wasn't even that. It was her talking about a dude who nobody sent me the apology of this guy, which was not an apology. You know, and her calling out Smash for platforming the guy or for boosting the guy. So this already pisses me off. This is incredibly disingenuous and makes you look like a fucking snake. So,
with no rhyme or reason, and didn't think much else of her other than a nuisance outside of that action.
Also, this fucking idea of no rhyme or reason, when she's got videos made on her regularly for just about everything she does, right? This isn't a one-off thing where she just decided out of nowhere to go after Smash JT's wife. Her argument is that she is constantly being harassed and she was wanting it to stop. So it's not just out of nowhere.
In November of 2024, during a Smash JT livestream, I admitted something to him via membership chat, which at no point he had known about me since our communication was very limited outside maybe sending him a new shirt that I made or interacting with him during his live streams. This is what happened during his 90K celebration live stream.
J-Watt, member for 2 months.
Okay, let me hear that again. I'm getting nothing done in gaming, but I do not care.
K celebration live stream.
Oh, God damn it.
J-Watt, member for 2 months. After being homeless for 6 months, moving into a place tomorrow. Thank you for keeping me sane with your videos and promoting the shirt that literally fed me. Months. Moving into a place tomorrow.
90K celebration live stream. Known about me since our communication was very limited outside maybe sending him a new shirt that I made or interacting with him during his live streams. This is what happened during his 90K celebration live stream.
J-Watt, member for 2 months. After being homeless for 6 months, moving into a place tomorrow. Thank you for keeping me sane with your videos and promoting the shirt that literally fed me. Holy shit, dude. Damn. J-Watt, man, hit me up on DMs on Twitter. I'm
gonna say now this just sounds a little beggy, but I don't have, I guess, a problem with this in general. But this is what led to, like, he was giving shirts, he was doing other things like that to him. It's not like they didn't have some kind of contact together.
We can probably set something up for you, man. I had no idea that was your situation. But thank you. Genuinely appreciate you being a supporter of the channel. But please DM me. Appreciate you, man.
For context, while I was homeless, before I made this announcement to him, I would get off a 12-hour shift taking care of men with intellectual and developmental disabilities, some that could get very violent. And I would take a 20-minute walk to the shelter, listening to his latest video, and many times fall asleep on this exact bed to his live streams while wearing headphones. It was one of the greatest distractions that someone in my position at the time.
This is where I start to get, this is the part, I rage quit this fucking part right here. I cannot stand, and this is going to sound really fucking cold, when someone cries in a YouTube video. I don't like it when people cry in streams. I think if you start crying, you should get off the fucking phone, or you should get off the stream, right? But to leave it in a fucking YouTube video is absolutely to manipulate the people around you for desired audience. And his seems like he just wants to do it to make Alyssa seem like the fucking bad guy. It's fucking absolutely pussy behavior. It's manipulative, and so far he hasn't done anything to disprove anything that I've seen in the Alyssa Mercante case.
Could ever ask for. But
fucking manipulative.
The man decided to do more.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely manipulative. Sympathy circle jerk. Exactly. He's holding it for as long as he can. He actively kept this in the video while he was fucking editing. And it's clear that it's for an emotional reaction. Like, it's this shit absolutely fucking pisses me off.
Afterward,
keep it up, pussy.
I sent him a message during the live stream. Immediately, reached out and told him that I had saved up plenty of money and was moving into a new place, and even sent him screenshots to let him know that, you know, financially I was okay and that he didn't need to set me up with anything. He was still curious, or so I thought. And he asked me about my situation. And I told him what kind of happened with me. And that, you know, I made homeless content for YouTube, and I provided this YouTube channel. Which was...
See, even with this, like, I feel like he manipulated Smash JT. Like, I have no problem with his homeless content. I believe he was homeless. It's fucking manipulative. He has to put in there that he works with mentally handicapped people to show that he's a good person. He has to cry on stream to show that he has emotion and that he feels something, and you should feel something too. It's absolute. This entire video is to play on people's emotions to try and make them feel sorry for him. And I wonder if that's because something's going to come out in Discovery.
It was the first time he ever knew about my creator YouTube channel. Without my knowledge, he created a Gifts and Ghosts for me. That at the time also featured my Nobody Has Spoken YouTube channel, which I asked and he thankfully removed from the site. So in a way, he was the first person to almost dox me. The irony. This ended up making around $480, which he donated $100 himself, which gave me some extra cushion for my new place. I was able to buy a mattress and other amenities that allowed me to spend some money with little.
You see how this is so much like, now we're dipping into Smash is a good guy. He can't be hated by Alyssa Mercante. He's a good guy. He's, you know, he gave me money when I needed it. He did this thing and that. Alyssa Mercante is an evil whore who text messaged his wife. But Smash JT is a good guy.
Little or no stress. Which I'll be forever grateful for. When I got settled in to my new place, I joined in on one of his live streams, thanking him for a few minutes for his kindness on February 15th, 2025. Oh, no. A little after about 1 a.m. From there, I would send him updates via X about, you know, getting a game PC for the first time, a new microphone. I'd send him funny things during the setup of my now bedroom studio. Maybe send him some interesting news to cover if it ended up being a slow news day for gaming. Even trolled him a little bit.
I'm coming after you, Smash. Soon, I will be the streaming god.
Look what a great relationship we had. He was such a cool dude. He fucking did all these things for me. He became my best friend.
And we will go to tier 4 and tier 5. And there's nothing that will stop us, sir. Sir?
And you need to understand that during our DMs and before I started creating content at my new place, we had maybe spoken about Mercante once, maybe twice in passing over DMs. And I found this little picture because, you know, it's fun trolling Smash. And I also sent him this video as a call to action for hitting the like button, which ironically enough gave Dog on a Train enough to make the connection that led to my eventual doxing. And if anyone else would like that video for their channel, I'll more than likely send it over to you. It's important to understand that Smash JT was unaware that my first video was not being homeless. It was going to be about Alyssa Mercante. And he never encouraged me, directed me, or paid me to do so. This message is the first time he learned that I was even thinking about it. This is the first time I showed him my first thumbnail.
Are you really fucking crying about the first thumbnail you gave to fucking Smash JT? Come on, man. At this point, I don't even believe you're actually crying. I believe you're fucking making it look like you're crying so that you can so that you can pull more sympathy. You're
And after he reacted to my video on his live stream, we never talked about that video again. I moved on to making a video about Adam Conover, and my next video was actually with the intent to find an article about that Mercante had written that all gamers could agree on because, you know.
Am I just not? I guess it's got to be an actual corner. Let's try
I
that.
just wanted to find something that we could all relate to.
So you wanted to jump on the fucking train of Alyssa Mercante because she's fucking popular to go after in the anti-woke sphere. That's what you wanted to do. Everyone else is making videos on her around Smash JT. Why don't I do the same fucking thing?
I couldn't. For the most part, it seemed like she didn't mind hot women in gaming, but you know, I found out about the Stellar Blade article later, after the fact.
Okay, how does that have to do with anything about hot women in gaming? Like, this is Kotaku senior editor. God damn, it's fucking. Is that fandom? Oh, fuck me. Kotaku senior editor Alyssa Mercante continues to play victim as she attacks Stellar Blade and gamers. That says nothing. That's just a fucking article. What did she actually say about the game? I'm sure it was some progressive fucking shit, right? It's Alyssa we're talking about. But Alyssa bad, Smash JT good, guys. Alyssa bad, Smash JT good.
Fact.
Fucking loser.
But I wanted confirmation that there wasn't any contradictions. And I ended up finding her dissertation that had me pivot into making the video about the section on the game Sabat that I mentioned earlier in this video. Because of that, I made so many connections and people and now
more fucking crying to manipulate your fucking audience, you absolute piece of shit.
call friends who this woman just continues to hurt. But all I ever did, Alyssa, is read what you wrote and gave an opinion or ask a question. I've never even made fun of your looks or anything like some of my friends have. Since you put me in this document, it hasn't taken till recently, so it's been like 3.5 weeks now.
Okay, I think
for the stress,
damn it,
anxiety, and depression.
Oh, now we're talking about stress, anxiety, depression.
And some of you might not know, but I was definitely crashing out behind the scenes and definitely made a fool of myself.
Says you have to connect it to a structure.
I had to tell my family about what was going on because it seems like you have some friends that love doxing and swatting people. And you talk about
Does it
how
have to be
you have
building
been
to
doxed,
building? I guess.
sent death threats, calls and messages to your family members. And I have never done that to you. None of these.
Okay, this is just shit you're saying. I've never seen anything besides Smash JT's name, which was already public info, that shows that Alyssa Mercante doxed anybody. I haven't seen anything showing any of these other claims. Let's read all of them.
In this lawsuit,
God damn,
have ever done that to you?
What
confused have ever done that to your family? How you have been doxed, sent death threats, calls and messages to your family members. And I have never done that to you. None of these creators in this lawsuit have ever done that to you.
Right. The point she's making in her case is not that they have directly done it to her, but they have been so malicious, if you want to say that, with their coverage that they know that she's going to get harassed and doxxed every time they make a video. So far, I have yet to see a single video or a single claim of harassment from Alyssa Mercante that's credible to being a harassment. She just, if she happens to tweet about them, which I agree, she needs to fucking stop doing because it only causes more grief for her. But it's this isn't even what they're trying to say, what she's trying to say with everything. Y'all are just being shit bold-faced liars. It's the best thing I can say. Though I don't think that's the let me listen to that again. I'm getting mad and forgetting my fucking argument. I've never done that to you. She hasn't done that to anybody either. That's my point.
To go through that. But that I'll never know.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm just nobody.
Yeah. This is by far one of the worst fucking videos I've ever watched. I think Nobody is an absolute manipulative piece of shit who is trying to push this off on him. He has made videos that have been watched by people like Smash JT that she is arguing about. Now, I don't know how this will go when the courts actually start going through with it. Like, I really have no idea. But the idea that there's no case, oh, come on, I have enough room there, that there's no case for Alyssa Mercante of the harassment, or that Alyssa Mercante is actually harassing people, is just absolutely brain dead bullshit. Is he talking about Alyssa? Her sister's website literally got hacked. Yeah, got hacked, and they, that's a good point, because I'm going to bring up another thing on top of that. It got hacked, and they boosted her sister, who has nothing to do with any of this, having her website. No, it wasn't her sister's website got hacked. They paid for her sister's, after they got her sister's information, they paid to have a website made with her sister's name. I'm going to have to shorten this, aren't I? I'm going to have to move this whole fucking thing because of this. Holy shit. No, I'm not. Fuck that. I know what I'm going to do. Paid to have her, and then put her sister's name and shit all and other stuff. I know it wasn't like her docs information, but they were using it to make fun of Alyssa and other things like that. So it wasn't, her name got doxed. I don't know if anything else got doxed in that situation. And all the anti-wokers signal boosted it. Now let's get to the really egregious one, is when Smash JT put on Alyssa Mercante, or on his YouTube videos and in his article, the link to the Kiwi Farms thread that had her docs on it. Yes, Smash JT did not dox her, but what he did do is amplify her docs so that the wider internet could have it. And that is complete scumbag fucking material. And and Smash has said of his own volition that kind of stuff leads to doxing and harassment when Alyssa did it with his fucking name. So this is I'm gonna have to watch something to calm myself down, but this is absolute fucking bullshit. These anti-wokers, or Nobody, is a piece of shit who manipulates people to get what he wants. You know, you want to get an example of that? I have to show it when I show the actual fucking video. Oh, hold on. Actually, you know what? Let's fucking do this shit. Hold on. You want to see what this fucking loser is up to? Actually, let's keep it on reading. Let's come here, you fucking loser. Where are you? Oh, it's under this one. Damn it. I can do this. Desktop. Third Amendment. Oh, god damn it. Oh, Vincent Martin, why are you watching that Nobody? Because I wanted to prove, if you go back and look at it, I wanted to prove he's an absolute manipulative fucking snake that has pretty much lied this whole time, or so I say were. I'm about to show you just the kind of loser this guy is, because he talks about the AWOD account, right? Talks about the AWOT account. We're gonna get into the AWOT account and the Nobody account here. So let's see here, because he's crying in this. I don't know if you've watched this video or not, but he cries in this video multiple times about some of the weakest stuff, and it just is absolutely to get the fucking attention of his anti-woker fans who will soy out over one of their guys being harassed by Alyssa Mercante. He splits up Alyssa Mercante's text message to her DM to the wife to make it look like it's multiple instances of it, and puts in a random one there that's actually Alyssa talking about a guy that was threatening to kill her, right? Which shitters say that all the time. The problem was Smash JT was signal boosting the guy. I personally don't think that was Smash JT's fault. He doesn't have to look deeply into every single tweet or the person who's tweeting his arguments. But that was, where is nobody? Where's this fucking loser shit? Okay, we got to go up further. Oh, here we go. Yes. Bear with me. I'm going to block out some shit here. Even though his name's public information. Let's see. Let's make sure. Boop. Brief purpose of issuing nobody's Discord. Okay, here we go. You can't be serious. Did nobody really pull an I'm Alex? Oh, 100%. He was all about crying on stream and all that other fucking shit. It's absolutely loser behavior. Yeah. Let's see here. All right, here we go. Fucking boop. Let's boost this up some, because this is what we want to look at. This is JWatt. Nobody. This is nobody replying to fucking JWatt in the in Smash's Discord. And then, when can I expect a vid? Depends how much I get done tomorrow. It's a massive document. There's multiple text messages in her, or messages like this on Twitter and on the Discord. On top of it, he's made sock puppet accounts to go on to all the Reddit accounts he can, including Asmongold, to fucking boost his videos. This dude's an absolute fucking loser, a manipulator who will do anything to try and grab a fucking attention. He tricked Smash JT into letting him into there and being part of their friendship, and now is feeding off of them. Like, he made a video. I'd like to go watch his video, and we might, where he talks about, I got 2 channels monetized in whatever amount of time. But the problem is he got it monetized because of Smash JT. I absolutely believe that. Maybe he was monetized before, and I'll be proven wrong. But as far as I've seen, this guy has weaseled his way in to every aspect of the anti-wokers to ride that train. So now that I'm I'm good and pissed off at that fucking weasel, let's find something else to watch. Scene. Oh, no. Boop. Look in my backlogs here, see what our next video is. I do have chat open too. If anyone wants to come in and talk about a subject, or if you want me to watch something, just jump in the waiting room.
Ass. All you had to do was wait your turn, but you just had to.
Oh, we'll watch this one. Sure. Since you popped up, we'll watch this one. Because I like learning about, all these new people. Boop. This is the Birdman's video on Heel's Babyface. When did he make this? About a month ago. Exposing the grift in his human projector. So we'll see what this one has. I've heard the Birdman makes good videos, especially on the anti-wokers.
Oh, ass. All you had to do was wait your turn, but you just had to open your mouth like the high-volume blowhard that you are. So let's put you on top of the schedule, shall we? Uncle Fester here decided to speak on behalf of Nerdrotic, making a couple claims about you. So let's embarrass him a little bit.
Well, it's not progress, it is regression, because it's like, if you don't like the show with a black character, you're racist, because that's the only fucking argument they've got.
No, it's not the only one. In addition to the outright misinformation you morons peddle, you guys are also homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, and racist.
I get where they're coming from on that, but I think that's a little much. I don't know that I would fully adhere to. I don't like to just call people racist because they talk about, negatively talk about a black character. I agree that I think there's a reason that everyone else looks at them as being racist because they do that, but I don't know that I fall into that. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this night. Yeah. If you got any other videos you want me to watch that you haven't sent me yet, send it in the chat or send it in the DMs, because we're just playing and having a good time tonight.
You left out a couple things, you see. In any case, it's you people that have the limited arguments, because whenever you see one of those groups in any form of media, you whine and cry about it. Like this tweet where you're upset that a person is gay and or trans and got community noted because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, as per usual with you outrage merchants. You're a 50, yeah, that's right, 50-year-old man.
Holy shit. Babyface is 50 years old? God, I didn't know that.
Baby that cries about groups that don't look like you on social media. Here's a Twitter search of the word black from your account. If we exclude the mentions of things like Black Canary and Black Myth Wukong, we're still...
Okay, hold on. Let's go back a little bit here. If Star Trek TNG was made by today's showrunners, Worf, I'm black too. Jiro, I'm black and blind, making me one of the minorities. Then you, Worf, I'm black. I mean, you can see how, like, I get it, because she's a black woman, because holy shit, this is a subtle as a brick in the face. Also, your Doctor Who vids have been outstanding, dude. Despair to, I've heard of him. As a black man myself, I'm offended by this. I mean, yeah, you could see where people would get it.
We're still scrolling. You see, it's not that this is our only argument, Dr. Evil. It's that this is all you talk about. It's you people that have made these discussions all about identity, because you can't handle when a character in a piece of media doesn't look like you. Which is weird, because we have a ton of...
That is a true point that I guess I haven't thought of looking at like that. Because yeah, they're basically just doing identity politics, but in reverse. You can't have anybody that we don't like on screen. It's got to be the kind of people. That's a good way of looking at it.
Of characters that looks like you. Humpty Dumpty, The Blob, Baymax, Baron Harkonnen,
oh fuck me,
Gru, Elmer Fudd, Kid Krillin, that one vampire in Blade. You seem to be very well represented in popular culture is what I'm saying, ass. The point is that we wouldn't be calling you a bigot if you didn't make bigotry your entire platform.
They can't help themselves. Dude, I mean...
You see the guy that made the video on you because you're racist, because you don't like Ironheart?
I'm very glad you said that, ass, because it allows me the opportunity to address this ridiculous straw man that you people have taught your parrots to endlessly repeat. The idea that we are calling you people racist because you don't like a property that stars a black person. That's not even remotely the argument, and it's a very convenient way of shutting down criticism of your positions because you can't actually refute the arguments against you. My critique of Gary was a systematic rebuttal of nearly everything he said. While we know Gary is a racist, him being a racist wasn't the body of that critique. The video is literally called Nerdrotic Lies to You About Ironheart. For example, I called him out for saying that we were never shown Riri as a genius when she was shown to be a genius in the project that the character debuted in. What's worse is Gary says that while in the very same video complains about a majority of the trailer being Riri using her brain to escape an elevator.
I heard Riri Williams was a genius. Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
And right off the bat, we get the staples of modern intersectional feminist Hollywood writing. We are told she is great through constant affirmations from other characters, but never shown. That's why I thought it was an interesting creative choice, spending the first minute of this 1 minute and 44-second trailer having Riri Williams walk into a building and escape from an elevator.
We are told she is great through
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to, like, I've never seen any take from these guys that I would call like good gaming criticism. They all say kind of the same buzzwords. I've said it with Endymion multiple times. They just say what their fans will be happy to say. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to change those, it looks like. Okay. And then pretend that they have real games journalism or real criticism. No, that's just, I'm going to have to move this whole fucking thing over. Fuck me. All right, let's keep going. I'm liking this.
From other characters, but never shown.
Do you see how that was a lie? That we weren't shown her being a genius, even though that's one of the things Gary complained about, her being shown to be a genius while escaping the elevator? That's one of the many things I destroy Gary on, something I can do for basically any video he's ever produced. This is because, like you, he is a bigot, and that bigotry causes him to lie and misrepresent pieces of media. You know.
I get it. Birdman is he's a black man that is calling these guys bigots, and I don't necessarily think he's wrong in that, assessment, or I could see how you can make that assessment. I hold it a lot more to incompetence, absolute incompetence, than I do to actual bigotry. But maybe that's because I'm white and probably a bigot myself.
Like you did with this tweet that got community noted. No one is saying not liking a piece of media makes you a bigot. We're saying it's because you are a bigot that you don't like it, which is why you people constantly lie and misrepresent these pieces of media. It's either that or you're incredibly stupid. I'll let you choose, Dr. Robotnik.
See? He's
a race hustler.
There we go. He gives me the chance to make my argument. Frankly, I think Birdman should focus on these things instead of the racism. Yeah, it's an easy fight back. Like, it's really easy for an anti-woker to say, "Oh, see, he's calling me racist. We're not racist guys, are we?" And that's, becomes a legitimate defense for their side. If you just focused on how bad their coverage is, I think you'd get farther with their audience, and you have more and more people that would start to kind of wake up. You know what I mean?
Aren't you guys the race hustlers? This is pure projection. Assassin's Creed wants to tell a story about Yasuke. Here you come with multiple videos. Falcon and the Winter Soldier apparently forced you to make a video with a thumbnail of Anthony Mackie saying, "I'm just a poor black victim." I suppose it's a coincidence
True.
a black person for this video's thumbnail, or all these thumbnails. I guess it's just happenstance that the things you dislike seem to have black people in them. Ass, or women, or gays. You see, it's you guys that are the hustlers, aka grifters, the people selling outrage for internet clout and money. Trying to call the people criticizing your own actions hustlers is the lamest attempt at a "I know you are, but what am I" I've ever seen. What are we, in grade school? You people try to sell this lie that people are on your case for no reason, but it's because you produce slop content that we're here criticizing you for it. That's cause and effect, my friend. don't.
Hey, let's watch the slop content accusations. I enjoy my slop. Like that point would have hit harder if he didn't say Gary is a bigot, but he certainly has content and rhetoric that bigots would enjoy. Yeah, I agree. That's kind of the thing, is like just flat out calling him that is never going to work. The SJW arguments are always going to fall flat with the vast majority of people. I think even the average normie is tired of hearing that kind of talking points.
Won't start none, won't be none.
Someone made a video saying that you guys are like the KKK or something.
I think it was Gary. It might have been you, Mauler, and Drinker or somebody.
No, it was actually Jeremy Griggs, Nerdrotic, and the Critical Drinker, but nice attempt, Q-Ball. It was only the very beginning of the video, so I can see how you missed it. Also, for the record, these are the people that try to tell the audience what to think about media when they can't even get a simple analogy. What I said was the KKK hide their identities so that they can be racist without repercussion in their daily lives.
Yeah, but you see how easily they flush that argument off by saying, well, they're saying I'm part of the KKK. Like if you just beat them at the analysis portion and show how retarded their analysis absolutely is, I think you're going to get farther than trying to make statements like that, which are obviously to paint them in that light, right? Not saying you can't, not saying that you're not right. I don't know if you're right, but personally, I don't like. Even I'm tired of hearing the racist thing, right? I can make a racist joke every now and again. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, the lefty arguments are just never going to win this fight. I think what's going to win this fight is people who are already tired of hearing the anti-wokers, just like people were tired of hearing the wokes.
This is similar to how these grifters couch their bigotry in weak media critiques. As I explained earlier, Nerdrotic literally lied to the audience, saying that we were never shown Riri was a genius, when in that trailer, they show her being a genius while escaping an elevator. This is Gary providing a weak media critique about a show he hasn't yet watched, and he's doing this because he's a bigot that doesn't want to see a story about a young black woman. Do you understand the analogy now? You people make up nonsense about media properties instead of just admitting you don't like the particular identity of the main character in the property, because you're too pussy to admit you're a bigot, just like the KKK. I mean,
see, this is why they lose them. Like sure, some of these guys I do think are absolute bigots. That's just comes with, the territory on that, but everyone who watches them who may have genuine trouble with the gaming industry and things like that aren't like, you're basically taking his entire audience and saying you're all bigots, right? Just because you're calling him a bigot. That's the way it turns into, and they'll use that kind of language when it comes up. They'll be like, see, they hate you. They think you're racist. And it only makes their fans push stronger to them, versus going through and proving them wrong. I think will have more weight, at least against the guys who, like me, who would be willing to like, okay, let me dig in a little bit more on this.
They literally say they're not a white supremacist organization. Just like you people, their actions say otherwise.
Because you don't like Ironheart, you're racist. Oh, why don't you just come out and say? Why don't they just come out and just say they're racist?
Finally, yes, that's what we're asking. Why don't you just come out and say it? What, are you afraid you're going to lose your audience? But your audience already says the quiet part out loud, so nothing to fear, right?
And that's another thing, like saying the audience already says the part out loud. Yeah, there are those guys, but most audience, I think, that are out there aren't that, they're not that, right? They're just making games. They may agree with something that like Nerdrotic takes, or they may fall for the it's woke because there's a black person in it, but they're not hardcore racist, and you just basically called them racist.
Says race hustling grifter.
Okay.
That's all they got. You don't like a black character, you're racist. It's all they got. It's the only one note, one trick ponies, fucking nobodies.
So much projection there. I mean, calling the people criticizing you the grifters is pretty rich. People like me are simply reporting the news. I show what you people actually say and do, and then I respond to it. You're basically calling the reporter breaking news about corruption in the government a corrupt government official. That doesn't even make sense and is, again, I know you are, but what am I? You don't actually have a rebuttal, and I think your audience should find that concerning. But what I find concerning is you calling me a fucking nobody. Besides the fact that we're roughly the same YouTube size, aren't you the guy that had to latch onto much bigger grifters to make your name in this space, ass? Which one of us needed
calling them out?
Creators on YouTube. I'll give you a hint. It was you. I made my name on my own. No one wrote any of my videos. I almost never collaborate with anyone, and I don't go with the crowd. You see, my growth on this platform has been purely organic, and that's because, unlike you, I actually have talent. And that's why you've been losing subscribers while I've been gaining nearly 10 times the amount you have. Speaking of numbers, you have 4,100 videos on this platform. I have just over 850. In case you can't do math, that's 5 times the amount of videos I've output, and you've only gotten 170 million views for your trouble? That's only an average of 41,000 views per video.
God damn, he's going into it.
About 82,000 views per video. You know,
this is something I've been saying too. Is you look at a lot of these anti-woke channels, is they're not making the views that you would expect off of their content, right? It's very telling, and I think like they have the best milkers probably in the YouTube space, but I think that's the only way they're surviving. Like that's just the only thing that makes sense to me, is that's how they're doing it, is they're getting tips. Because I think I saw one get like $1,800 in tips on one show, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. Not a lot of YouTubers, even bigger YouTubers, get that much.
Why? Because I'm a better content creator than you. That's why your channel's projection looks like a limp dick and mine's looks like casino revenue. Because like the house, the truth always wins. Yes, ass, this is what irrelevancy looks like. Get used to it, because the age of the grifter is swiftly coming to an end. Something your fellow grifter Eric July realized, so he got out of the game. Does this graph look familiar? How about this one? Oh, don't laugh, Gary. You've got erectile dysfunction too.
So, why do they feel the need to replace only white characters with black characters?
Oh, hey, why do they
That's
feel
not
the need to
racist?
replace straight
Is that
characters
not
with
racist?
gay characters?
Why do they need to do? Yeah.
Gary is spoiling the plot, you guys. You began this by trying to say it's not about race, but Gary being Gary, he couldn't hold it in long enough for you to put the sheets on. That's him admitting that his issue is race. So when you want to talk about race hustlers, ask your friends first, wimpy. The answer to his question has already been said 1,000,000 times before by me and others. Almost every white comic book character was created at a time where every character was white due to convenience. There's nothing inherently white about the majority of these characters. Stan Lee once stated that his characters were white because that's all that was around him, so he just reflected his neighborhood.
See, the thing is, normally when I would sit down to write about a superhero, I think of a normal American one, because I'm American and I'm surrounded by, in this country. But lately, I've been thinking we've got to be more worldwide.
That's why almost all of his characters are headquartered in New York, because he's from New York. But there's nothing inherently New Yorker to Mr. Fantastic's characterization. He can be from anywhere, and nothing about the character meaningfully changes. The same goes for characters that are so-called race-swapped. There was nothing inherently white about Nick Fury, so in the Ultimate Universe, they modeled the character after Samuel L. Jackson, and then the MCU decided to actually cast Sam as Nick Fury for live action, because nothing meaningfully changes about the character. Black characters, on the other hand, are usually created to be black. Black Panther has to be black because that was the intention of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and the character is from an African nation that has never been colonized. Why would you expect to see a European in that role? Power Man is black because he's from Harlem, a predominantly black neighborhood, and was created literally to capitalize on the blaxploitation trend of the era. These types of characters wouldn't be themselves if they weren't black. But nothing changes about Johnny Storm when he's played by Michael B. Jordan, because the characterization of the Human Torch isn't predicated on him being white.
Was that even called out back in the day when that Fantastic Four came out? I don't remember. I mean, wasn't Johnny the sister of... I guess you can rewrite the characters all you want, but I'm pretty sure Johnny originally was the brother of the Invisible Chick. I don't do enough into superheroes and comics. So I think your argument might be a little bit weak there in some areas.
Is that not racist?
We need more representation.
Me and my KKK brethren were really enjoying Sinners, by the way, because I liked the movie.
Ah, you mean that movie you enjoyed so much you didn't even make a video about it? Interesting, but I have black friends statement there, Gary, because you were so gung-ho to tell us about G20, a movie most of us have never even heard of, and also conveniently stars a black person. So are you saying that your channel is only dedicated to reviews of things you dislike? Well, that can't be true, because you gave a positive rating to Matt Walsh's nonsensical film, Am I a Racist? A little on the nose there, Gary. So where's the Sinners video, dipshit? You liked it, right? You've got videos on basically all other properties starring black people. Where's the one about the film that's unanimously praised? Ah, can't have your audience thinking black people make good things now, can we?
Well, if you want more representation, there's a guy called Eric fucking July that just made a whole fucking thing.
Well, Eric July is a bigot. He is also a lying grifter, as we have video evidence of him changing positions on things when he realized he could grift on that bigotry. You thinking pointing to your also grifting friends as evidence of good representation is precisely why your channel is falling off. You're too stupid to realize you don't actually have a rebuttal to the criticisms of your positions, and that's why people continue to unsubscribe from you. You can yell and scream about pronouns all day, but you can't substantiate your claims after that, and when people like me expose you for it, those that were once under your spell snap out of it. And that's why Eric's channel fell off, and I
agree to that. I think you would be more effective if you dropped off of the again, kind of repeating myself, the bigot stuff, right? I think naturally these guys are going to die anyway. I don't think anything that I do when I'm screaming into the ether on my channel here or going onto Twitter is actually doing anything meaningful. Like, I don't think what the anti-wokers were doing was anything meaningful either. So, I know why. Hold on. Boop, 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 boop. So, I don't know. I just don't think, like, you're not going to win. You're not going to win more people out of the anti-woke by calling their entire group bigots, right? It's just not gonna. It's not gonna get people to come back. But if you point out their retarded takes, you can start to get people who might start thinking and start looking a little bit deeper into it. In which case, they may actually turn away from the anti-wokes, right?
full time into producing comics, people realized he was full of shit. I mean, less than 400 views in an hour? Yikes. This is your...
Use the funny facts and logic. Yeah, it's so easy to make fun of these fucking dudes, right? They do so much stupid shit. Even start something where they get dunked on, right? But if you're just calling them a bigot, even if you make really good analysis around that, you're going to lose the plot with some people. will not fucking park there, will it? Wonder if... Okay, let's try something here. Boop, boop, boop. So yeah.
Future ass. Only you got here by being a giant man baby and weren't able to parlay the grift at its peak into a comic business.
Yeah, it sucks that it's like that before. I mean, we live in a world where people can make jokes and things like that, and people can, you know, I've made jokes like that before, you know, separately in the military, not in the military. So it's, to me, it's a more natural thing to make those jokes. Now, I wouldn't go down the street and say it to a black person I didn't know, right? That would be insane. But naturally people don't. I guess what I'm trying to get at is naturally people don't want to, if you come at them with something that's very negative or saying that they're some kind of bad person, they're gonna fight back on that. So in this case, when you're telling them that they're a bigot, they're gonna be like, well, no, I'm not. You know, I know I'm not. So you're completely, nothing else you say is justified. I think about optics too much, which hits harder, saying that they are bigots or that they might be bigots. But if they aren't, how sad is it that they are pandering to those types of losers? Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. They pander that type of stuff because it, for a while anyway, it was getting views. Hold on, what was that? Oh, that's from 2 months ago. Yeah, we'll probably watch that at some point. So you get called, I get it, you get called what that stuff is because of the way you're acting and because of the way it, you know, you look like a bigot, you smell like a bigot, you probably are a bigot kind of mentality. But that doesn't always, that's not always the case, right? Sometimes people are not bigots and they get really upset when you say that. And then continuing to say it, it gives anyone who is a bigot a out to say, look, hey, guy who's not a bigot, I'm not a bigot either. They're just calling you one because they hate you, which is almost the exact words that they've used. They've absolutely said they hate you. So next, I wanted to check out another lefty that was given to me by someone in my Discord. I don't remember which one. Western games are not the problem. It's one country. So let's see what this one is. Boop. Who is this? Lady Decade?
It's full in recent years, haven't they? On the internet, we do
another Brit.
Pattern recognition, don't we? And for anyone even paying a small modicum of attention, you would likely have noticed the waves.
It's one of those things where I wish the inverse was respected. I get it, you know, and I understand that point of view. Unfortunately, that's just not the world we live in. So many words to demean anyone progressive now too. Well, yeah, and I hate to say it, but I think part of that is the progressives doing it to themselves. Oh man, that's getting thick. Oh no! No! Trad lady gaga goo goo. Is she trad?
Upon waves of videos uploaded criticising the so-called poor state of Western AAA gaming, often contrasted sharply against the consistently decent offerings put out by the East. Scroll through the comments under any rant about live service nonsense or soulless corporate game design, and you'll inevitably find someone wistfully saying, at least Japan still cares about making actual games. In fact, last year, South Korea and even China received a great deal of praise online for bringing Stellar Blade and Black Myth Wukong into the world, with many framing the entire Western gaming hemisphere as failing on all levels.
Yeah, I keep hearing this thing, the Western gaming is failing, even though they go after the Eastern games too. Oh man, it's getting thick. Every time I show up here, there's always something out of context. Hey, if I could do that to you, Damage Sector, I think I'm succeeding. But yeah, there's this argument that, you know, the East is the only one that makes good games. The West is failing. It's been proven multiple times that's not true. So let's see what she says. That's so annoying too. Like, please. That's a good point. If you haven't liked the stream, go ahead and give it a like, so I can grow a little bit, and maybe I too can start grifting on this channel for money. Those two games are good, but out of the bubble, they aren't that special. True.
West sucks, right? It's a place where games like Concord, Suicide Squad, and Dragon Age The Vanguard are born. In my view, these criticisms are gross oversimplification. The majority of the industry's problems can be traced back to a single source: the United States. The issue isn't with Western gaming as
All right, of course, a dirty fucking Brit is trying to tell me that America is the problem. They're still mad. We dumped tea and kicked them out of our country.
whole, it's with American gaming specifically, where corporate bloats, creative stagnation, and a fixation on live service models have become the norm. Europe, in contrast, has delivered most of the West's standout releases in recent years, and when things do fall apart, it's usually because of American interference and influence, whether that be direct or indirect.
Okay, I'm wanting to hear this. What is America doing to destroy the gaming industry?
Lady Decade, hit that subscribe button, as this is how one country's corporate overreach and bizarre culture war have given the whole of Western gaming a bad name. Expedition 33. When I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about it, and when I am playing it, I'm wondering how the hell this thing even exists in 2025 without being smothered in microtransactions, bad haircuts, moral lectures, and spoon-fed, uninspired mechanics designed for only the most basic of idiots to get the most out of. Essentially, this game is everything many of its contemporaries are not. And what's better is you can grab it right now using my discount link to get a ludicrous 40% off. Or, if a newly released fighting game is your thing, how about 30% off the amazing Fatal Fury City of the Wolves? Get up to 90% off of thousands of modern AAA classic and retro titles too. Happy shopping, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. When the internet laments the decline of Western gaming, the criticism, whether consciously or not, tends to centre on the United States. This isn't just anecdotal. Over the last several years, some of the most high-profile failures in the industry have stemmed from American studios, or at the very least, from studios operating under American corporate leadership or shareholder influence. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is one such case. Developed by Rocksteady and published by Warner Bros. Discovery, the game shifted towards a live service model, reportedly at the behest of corporate strategy rather than developer intent. Reception was overwhelmingly negative.
Yep, this is a bad game. I like the Final Fantasy plug. I mean...
immediately. Anthem from BioWare also became emblematic of this broader issue. Developers struggled under EA's pressure to conform to a live service structure, even though there was no clear vision for the gameplay itself. Multiple delays, managerial missteps, and a last-minute shift in direction led to a game that launched unfinished, confused, and poorly received. In fact, support was later dropped entirely. And then there are, of course, examples like Dragon Age The Vanguard, a franchise once known for layered storytelling and complex world building, now reduced to controversy and confusion. The game's trailers and pre-release materials were met with near universal criticism, with many long-term fans disappointed that the franchise's tone had shifted dramatically. Upon release, the game failed to resonate commercially or critically. Sales were weak, player engagement was low, and the feedback was far more negative than EA had anticipated. As a result,
okay, so we're going through all of them.
Significant layoffs, with numerous long-serving developers losing their positions after the game's poor performance. The situation ended up being a complete embarrassment for all involved. While BioWare is a Canadian studio, its direction has, of course, been steered by EA's American executive structure for well over a decade. From marketing tone to monetization strategy, Veilguard's development appears to have been shaped less by creative ambition and more by brand positioning, crafted to fit a content strategy rather than to serve fans of the series. These failures aren't isolated to creative missteps, they reflect a broader pattern, one driven by US corporate priorities, an obsession with monetization, shareholder value, and a trend change.
Hold on. I gotta go back and listen to some of that because she's talking fast. Yes, corporate West is trying to dive into the monetization pool. I don't disagree with her there. Weirdly, none of that is in the game, but it did affect a version of it. Yeah, I mean, so yes, the West is trying to move into that monetization bubble. They've been trying to do it for a long time, but a lot of that has to do with it's much more accepted in the East for those kind of contents, where in the West we've been fighting against it forever, right? It's always been very hard to get it through the West. So let's go back a little bit here. I want to kind of re-listen to some of this here.
Developed by Rocksteady and published by Warner Brothers Discovery, the game shifted towards a live service model, reportedly at the behest of corporate strategy rather than developer intent. Reception was overwhelmingly negative and the player base dropped off almost immediately. Anthem from BioWare also became emblematic of this broader issue. Developers struggled under EA's pressure to conform to a live service structure, even though there was no clear vision for the gameplay itself. Multiple delays, managerial missteps, and a last-minute shift in direction led to a game that launched unfinished, confused, and poorly received. In fact, support was later dropped entirely. And then there are, of course, examples like Dragon Age: The Veilguard, a franchise once known for layered storytelling and complex world building, now reduced to controversy and confusion. The game's trailers and pre-release materials were met with near universal criticism, with many long-time fans disappointed that the franchise's tone had shifted dramatically. Upon release, the game failed to resonate commercially or critically. Sales were weak, player engagement was low, and the feedback was far more negative than EA had anticipated. As a result, BioWare suffered significant layoffs, with numerous long-serving developers losing their positions after the game's poor performance. The situation ended up being a complete embarrassment for all involved. While BioWare is a Canadian studio, its direction has, of course, been steered by EA's American executive structure for well over a decade. From marketing tone to monetization strategy, Veilguard's development appears to have been shaped less by creative ambition and more by brand positioning, crafted to fit a content strategy rather than to serve fans of the series. These failures aren't isolated to creative missteps, they reflect a broader pattern, one driven by US corporate priorities, an obsession with monetization, shareholder value, and a trend chasing that routinely interferes with the fundamentals of good game design. Arcane serves as a prime example of this. Known for critically acclaimed single-player titles like Dishonored and Deathloop, the studio's Austin branch, following its acquisition by ZeniMax and later Microsoft, was steered towards creating Redfall, a multiplayer co-op shooter. According to reports from Bloomberg and IGN, the team lacked interest in the project's direction, but management pushed ahead regardless. After a poorly received launch, Microsoft shuttered the studio in 2024, along with several others.
So, I mean, this is to me as a tale as old as time growing up. Like, it was almost a meme that everyone hated when EA bought out a games company because they knew it was going to go to shit and it was going to get shut down. EA was famous for shutting down companies left and right, and this is just more of that's continued on, only people don't fight against it because, well, we've got black people in games.
The failure wasn't down to incompetence, but a fundamental misalignment between creative intent and corporate mandate. CD Projekt Red offers a more gradual case. After the success of The Witcher 3, a game developed entirely under their own vision, using in-house tools and grounded in Polish storytelling traditions, the studio
The only reason DA ever became a normal game is because Jedi: The Fallen Order broke EA. Yeah, I can see that happening. It proved SP Games with nothing but its beginning being a GamesWorks. I'm not sure what that last one is. It proved SP Games with nothing, but it's being a GameWorks. EA, it's said it is themselves. Yeah. Well, it's like EA probably had the best monetization system that was out there, right? Being a normal game, not empty. Okay. No live service. Well, yeah, EA was the one that said people don't want single player games anymore. I get what you're saying now. People don't want single player games anymore. They want live services. And then after all the bombs of live services and stuff like that, people started making single player games again because that's actually what your customer wanted. They just wanted to push the live service because you could make a shit ton of money off of it. And the East is very open to live services. You see, gacha games almost always make shit tons of money if they're at least a sort of decent game.
Media began expanding internationally. They opened a Boston office, adopted more standardized workflows, and shifted communications to align with American marketing norms. The contrast became stark with Cyberpunk 2077, a title plagued by delays, crunch, and inflated expectations. While the game has since improved post-launch, the initial backlash was severe. In 2023, CDPR laid off over 100 employees in a restructuring move that aimed to align more efficiently with industry standards, many of which mirror US development models. The difference between The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 illustrates what can happen when a European studio adopts a more Americanized corporate structure. In both CDPR and Arcane's cases, the shift away from focused narrative-driven experiences towards broader market-driven ambitions led to products that neither met expectations nor played to the studio's strengths. A depressing trend indeed. The lesson is consistent. When American corporate priorities, so monetization, scale, and brand alignment, are imposed on European developers, the results are rarely creatively successful.
Okay, I don't necessarily agree. Like, the whole monetization system, part of it, there's disagreement on where it started. It's, you know, some people say it started in the... oh god, there's more of these retards here. It started in the with EA, but there were signs of it, I think, in the West too, or in the East too at that time. The East definitely had more success with it. So I don't know if it's just the West pushing these live service stuffs. No, yes, the West is pushing that, but the East has a culture where that's much more accepted, and the West sees that income and wants to capitalize on that. But us Westerners won't have any of that shit.
But these values don't need
well, in moderation, we'll have some of it.
To come directly from the United States to cause harm. Sometimes the damage is self-inflicted by studios that adopt the same logic in an attempt to compete on American terms. One of the clearest examples of corporate mismanagement mimicking the worst tendencies of American business culture is the case of Embracer Group. Behind the scenes, Embracer's financial model was built on unstable ground. Much of its projected revenue growth was tied to a mysterious $2 billion deal with a Saudi-backed fund, which ultimately fell through in 2023. When the funding collapsed, so did the strategy. Embracer began shuttering studios, cancelling games, and laying off hundreds of developers, many of whom had only recently been brought on board. THQ Nordic...
I remember when people hated the DLC passes, like how the old Battlefields had. Then it got worse. Yeah, I remember people being... There was a vocal group of people that just hated DLCs in general, especially like day one DLCs and stuff like that. It should have been in the game, but now day one DLCs are accepted. You don't see people crying about them as much as you used to. It's there's a reason China, Japan, and Korea have 3 of the 4 of the biggest revenue streams for live services, heavy mobile gaming, China being number one. Yeah, like I said, China, from what I understand, mobile is their big producer, and mobile was the most successful with these microtransactions. And it's just more, about it, even though we're slowly being suckered into it.
Once a beloved mid-tier publisher under Embracer's umbrella, saw its reputation gutted almost overnight. What's telling is that Embracer's failure didn't stem from a uniquely European problem. It was the result of copying the US tech industry's growth at all costs playbook, prioritizing acquisitions and investor confidence over sustainable creative output. In trying to compete with American giants like EA and Activision on their own terms, Embracer adopted the same financialization logic that had already undermined so much of the US.
Loot boxes probably got the worst concept that seemed more or less dying. Yeah, it got such a bad rap in the U.S. that you had countries like Britain and stuff like that start to actually, or in the West, we'll say, you had Britain and the EU slapping it down. And I think the one thing that's great about the EU when it comes to that is they're more willing to slap that stuff down, and when the EU does it, it tends to follow suit into the U.S. without the U.S. having to pass any laws, because it's just easier, right?
US games industry. The collapse not only damaged European development, but also fed into the broader perception that Western gaming is in crisis. But again, the problem wasn't a lack of creativity, it was the result of corporate overreach, driven by a global rush to emulate Silicon Valley's short-term thinking. And that influence doesn't stop with acquisitions or financial collapse. In many cases, it seeps in more quietly, reshaping how studios think, hire, and present themselves, even when they remain nominally independent. You see, the influence of US corporate culture doesn't stop at the American border, it extends into Europe, often reshaping studios that technically aren't American at all. Take Ubisoft, once known for distinct.
I mean, a lot of this, she's Libby, but I don't think she's stupid. No, she's definitely not stupid. She's thinking through her arguments when she's coming to it. I just think she's on the wrong basis for it. Like, yes, part of a lot of these corporations falling through is the West trying to build these live services and monetizations. That's been being said for years, but it's not necessary. Like, you could say that there's Eastern influence from that because the East is so successful with it that the West wants to in some way mimic that, right? There has to be a way we can get our audiences to look into it. Secretly, you'll know I do agree DEI departments shouldn't be a thing particularly. Well, yes. I mean, there should be a certain amount. I hate most HR departments. I don't like, because HR isn't there to help you. It's there to help the company. But through laws, we tend to get better outcomes. Yeah, my reasoning is more HR related. Yeah, it definitely causes, I think, more problems than in a wider thing with these DEI programs. But just it's not the black people in games, right? It's other reasons that are causing it to happen.
Instinctively,
HR should handle it. Yeah, I mean, if you've got someone who's racist, that's pretty clear, or they're treating someone that way, it's pretty clear that you should take your hands out of it, right? You should not let that happen. Sometimes I think the laws, though, overdo it so much that it becomes what it's become today.
European titles like Rayman or Beyond Good and Evil, the company has, over the past decade, increasingly adopted American publishing habits and cultural framing. From game structure to character writing, Ubisoft's recent output reflects many of the same priorities as their US counterparts. Open world bloat, monetization mechanics, and a superficial, diverse casting used as marketing shorthand.
Had to leave for a moment. What did you miss? Where did you leave at? Did you see my takes on Nobody? So we've watched Nobody's video. He's a fucking manipulative loser. We watched a Birdman one. just a recap of a lot of the issues with Western commercial stuff. Yeah, it's pretty much kind of what it is with her video. This isn't anything necessarily that I didn't know, but it does go deeper. Yeah, I left when the nobody part ended. Okay. Then you haven't missed much. We watched a Birdman video, and now we're watching this one from Lady Decade about the West and particularly America being the problem. Just like every Brit to try and blame Americans for their own inadequacies. But I'm trying to listen and be open.
Internal reports and interviews have pointed to management being more.
Outlaws deserved better. I think except for the anti-woke stuff, there was a lot of problems with Outlaws coming out. Like, you could have pointed at so many things that were problems with Outlaws. But it definitely wasn't like it wasn't woke. I'm sorry. Just the female character didn't make it woke.
Concerns with hitting externally imposed DEI benchmarks than delivering innovative or challenging game concepts. These changes are often presented as progress, but they raise an important question. Is global creativity really thriving, or is it being funneled through a
What's funny, Grizzle?
single ideological filter, one headquartered on the American West Coast? Some of the most recognizable names in gaming have seen their identities quietly rewritten.
Yeah, it did look pretty rough.
With American cultural and commercial expectations, even when the games are being produced on different continents completely, often delivering some very questionable results. Sony has long been perceived as Japan's great gaming giant, but over the past decade, it too has undergone a shift, one that reflects the growing dominance of American corporate influence, even in companies not based in the United States. In 2016, Sony Interactive Entertainment officially relocated its operational headquarters to California. Under the leadership of Jim Ryan, Sony's creative marketing strategies began to reflect this change. Japanese developers were quietly moved out of key decision-making roles, with greater emphasis placed on cinematic storytelling, prestige-style presentation, and games designed to appeal to American audiences and media outlets. Studios.
Okay, yes. I mean, I understand what she's saying here, but there's a reason they try and appeal to good thing McDizzle isn't around, dude, with like Outlaws mostly. Because the game wasn't like not finished or anything. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it had some technical issues that it suffered from, and because of that, the game itself suffered. Like Kamoji was saying, it had some pretty bad gameplay reviews, and there was some game mechanics that weren't very well thought through. It was trying to be a stealth game. The stealth didn't seem to be working very well, and if you got alerted, it alerted the entire place. So I think there are good critiques there for the game, and I've heard good things about the improvement. But when it comes to gaming, a lot of times that first impression is pretty much it. They admitted that they fucked up too. Yeah. Admitting you fucked up is one thing, but there's a lot of apology letters out there from gaming companies, right? That have put out we're sorry. So Ubisoft should have done better. It wasn't woke, but but it did lead to a good thing. AC Shadows being delayed. I think AC Shadows is better for it. No, this is not what I want to do. I keep doing this. Oh, down. Boom, boom, boom. So, but yeah, that's kind of my whole thing with it. First impressions are everything. It's really hard to get the trust and momentum back. Not everyone can be No Man's Sky. Yeah, and what people don't realize, like, companies have tried to mimic No Man's Sky by being like, we're going to go in and fix the game, but they don't understand what No Man's Sky did to earn that back, right? They said that they were going to fix things. They went silent, and then they just worked on it, and they put everything out for free, right? Why is it attaching to that one but not that one? Like, I don't understand. But why is it? What does it mean, structure? Still to this day. Yeah, it took years to do that, still to this day. Yeah, and they're still making content off of it, right?
Guys like Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica came to represent the new PlayStation house style. Highly polished, narrative-heavy action games that drew direct comparisons to Hollywood. Critics frequently praised these titles, but not all fans were.
Actually, a better example is Cyberpunk 77. That game was rough. Oh, super rough, right? And I'll admit they did fix it. They went back in and improved some stuff, but you can't expect, like I was talking with my brother-in-law about it. Like I was super excited for it. He was pretty excited for it, but then when it came out, I was still, living up to the copium. Oh, CD Projekt Red's going to fix it. But his view was like, no, I'm not going back to it, right?
Were convinced. Many longtime PlayStation supporters felt that the company's identity had been diluted, that it was less about gameplay diversity and innovation, and more about brand alignment with American media expectations. Since Jim Ryan's departure, however, there are signs that this shift may be slowing or even reversing. Hideaki Nishino, who now oversees Sony's platform experience, appears to be re-emphasizing the company's Japanese roots. New partnerships with Japanese studios, renewed support for hardware innovation in Japan, and a reorganization of development priorities all suggest a soft course correction. That influence doesn't just shape how games are made, increasingly it determines how they're marketed, communicated, and even timed. Especially when it comes to developers trying to appeal to American audiences.
Massive deserves a better publisher than Ubisoft. Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft is the easy dunk on, but people have been watching Ubisoft bury itself in the fucking ground for years now. They do have talent and clearly passion, just they definitely can't breathe under the environment. Yeah, and I think Ubisoft loves to irresponsibly spend money on stuff. People talk like the thing is they spend money like a AAA on a AA budget. And I think that holds very true. They're not as large as like some of these giants that are out there.
Audiences. One of the less obvious but increasingly.
I did eventually go back to Cyberpunk 77, but that's only because I got it before and knew about how bad it was. It was broke. I went back to it. I stopped playing it because it was so broken and buggy a mess. I came back to it later and I've enjoyed it. It's on my list of games that I need to beat so that I can be a real gamer finally.
The impactful ways American influence manifests in gaming is through marketing and PR. According to reporting from Nikkei Asia, several Japanese developers have begun delaying or reworking game announcements not because of technical readiness, but to avoid potential cultural backlash from loud, often obnoxious American audiences. The report highlights a growing trend. Japanese studios, particularly those of global ambitions, are advised by American PR firms to preemptively alter trailers, marketing language, and even character presentation to align with American socio-political norms.
Well, yeah, I mean, America do be loud, yeah. Important to note that that most studios can't afford the fix it later. Agreed. If they don't make the money initially, and then the money they take now they're going to use to push into the next game. So yeah, I agree with that. It mostly fixed. Fallout 76 is one that isn't. Well, oh man, what else was I saying? We'll keep going.
Developers have reportedly been told to avoid certain themes or imagery, not because they're controversial in Japan or Asia, but because they might cause offense on platforms like Blue Sky or Reddit. But I don't think
yeah, that's stuff that I think the gaming industry as a whole needs to really stop listening to Reddit and X and things like that, because I don't think they're getting the full picture of what gamers actually want, right? It's I get it, people are very angry most of the time and loud, but is it really what gamers want when you see all these people? And so that I think is true. Bad oh god, inside. It's a bad way to look at it, and it's been failing the game industry for years.
It's all fair to blame the average American player for this. This kind of gatekeeping isn't coming from fans, it's often driven by PR agencies, brand consultants, and marketing teams based in the US, who apply a uniform cultural filter across all regions. It's a soft form of censorship that reshapes how games are introduced to the world, often at odds with the developer's original intent. So when people speak about Western games having a certain...
I agree. It's I wouldn't say X, Reddit, etc. is bad for feedback, but it's necessary to come through the bad and the nonsense. That I agree with. I think you've got to look at what's actual feedback and what is, retards angry about black people in games, right? Now, not that they're listening to those people, though. I think there was some, like very little, but some negatives about that. I'm going to spend this whole stream just trying to get this thing up. But yeah, it's what are you talking about? It's connected. Like how else do you want me to connect it to a structure? Deborah Wilson haters are 100% racist. Okay.
Tone or agenda, what they're often reacting to isn't a design philosophy, it's a communications pipeline dominated specifically by American priorities. Even Japanese games are being presented in ways designed to appease a very specific American cultural lens. After all, you wouldn't want to...
I can't help that we're a fucking giant. Like, we are... the huge portion of the audience that plays games. So that's what happens is companies want that market, so they go to Deborah Wilson. Yeah. I think she's fine. She does, good acting and everything else. People just, I don't know, understand the hate for her entirely. Besides, she tends to be in everything gaming. She loves making games.
Offend anyone, especially people from the richest and most privileged country on the planet. Above everyone else, it seems, they most need to be kept comfortable in their safe spaces. First world problems and all. But what's interesting...
She's bald, that's what gets them.
...countries following that path and towing the line. South Korea has taken a more cautious approach, one that reflects a growing awareness of the risks involved in becoming too
Gooner game
tangled with American publishing norms. Recently, several Korean developers have begun distancing themselves from American publishing partnerships, not due to the lack of opportunity, but out of concern over the shifting priorities that often come attached. Internally, some Korean teams have expressed concern that working too closely with American firms could result in the same pressures faced by studios in the US and Europe. Korean studios tend to prioritize style, responsiveness to player feedback, and highly iterative design, often released first in domestic markets before expanding abroad. This cultural insulation is deliberate. While Korea is no stranger to monetization models or competitive development cycles, the studios there have largely resisted the creeping influence of American culture war dynamics. As one developer put it in industry commentary, "We want to make games people will enjoy, not statements they'll argue about." A refreshingly different take.
Yeah, okay. So I think she's mostly talking about the culture war in gaming and how the West kind of reacts to it. There's probably some other, stuff in there talking about how they're trying to, the West tries to monetize. They want to monetize everything to the fullest extent. They do this because they've seen the success of the East in it and the success of other companies. But yeah, the culture war is kind of cancer. This is going to be way too far. I need to push up that way. The culture, the culture war is a problem, but I think for the most part it's starting to get ignored. A lot of this is changing.
In this sense, South Korea is another useful contrast. It shows that developers can identify the cultural baggage that sometimes comes with American publishing support and choose not to adopt it. But even when developers resist those pressures internally, the framing of their work can still be shaped externally, because it's not just publishers influencing how games are made, it's also how they're talked about. The game's media plays a significant part in reinforcing the ideological filter applied to development and reception, particularly in the United States. In an interview conducted by IGN during the lead-up to Redfall's release, the developers were asked directly whether the game had been designed with DEI, diversity, equity.
Oh, here we go. Here we're getting into this stuff. I mean, doesn't the game you're playing do body type 1 and 2? I don't remember, but I would bet yes. Oh, I see what they did. Hold on. I see. Okay. Let's try that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it, you know, the culture war stuff is cancer. It always has been. Even when I played a part in it. Grumps keeps bringing it up and did say that it had 1 million players, not like players aren't copies. Okay, that argument, you're gonna make me mad. I'm gonna fucking freak out over that. That argument is such bullshit. It's funny that he makes it, but it's so off base on what actually happens. I'm about to get eaten by a fucking worm. On what the actual thing is. Like, the only thing that matters in any of these games is revenue. That's all the companies care about. And if they make revenue while Grums is yelling about players count instead of other count, then they're just going to realize, oh, they can ignore him because we still made money off of that game. People aren't listening to that retard.
And inclusion goals in mind. It's notable not just for the question itself, but for what it implies. That even a vampire co-op shooter made by a historically immersive sim studio is now expected to demonstrate ideological alignment as part of its public profile. The developers avoided giving a clear answer, but So
even in this, she's talking about the DEI side actually being part of the problem, identity politics and things like that. So she's made a lot of, like, she's digging into kind of all of the things that are an issue. I like it.
Exchange highlights how
the failed Assassin's Creed Shadows that has several content updates planned in the roadmap. Yeah, it was the second best selling game they've ever made, on top of being the #1 seller. Ooh, where's the worm at? There you go. I can't see him in the sand.
Far removed games media.
Yeah, it's just dead.
The average player's concerns. And a title already
Yes, I like that. Average player concerns. They've forgotten about the player and they listen to either the left wokey who wants more blacks and gays in the games, or the righty who wants no blacks and gays in the games.
The scrutiny for its mechanical issues and a genre pivot. Press discourse shifted instead towards political framing. This kind of questioning has become increasingly common, with media outlets placing more emphasis on a game's surface-level messaging, character diversity, representation, tone, than on its core mechanics or design innovation.
Yes!
So the industry's most
Preach, Queen!
Reinforce the idea that games are primarily vehicles for messaging rather than artistic or technical achievement. It's a dynamic largely driven by American cultural priorities, but it shapes how games are perceived globally, further muddying the waters when critics speak about Western gaming as if it's a single unified entity. And let's be clear, not all games from the West are tarnished. Sometimes a project comes along that doesn't fit the usual narrative. A game that, although it features an American license, was not produced in America. Marvel Rivals is one of the most revealing case studies in recent memory, not because it's politically explosive, but because it quietly exposes just how much ideological baggage American IPs now carry. Chinese studio NetEase developed the game under license from Marvel and takes a clear departure from the usual American design playbook. Characters are highly stylized, visually appealing, and strikingly expressive, without any of the usual blandness that tends to accompany ESG compliance frameworks. No battle passes, no washed-out color palettes, just a bold design and a strong sense of fun. It feels like what American games used to look like before everyone got scared of making anything too charismatic, too sexy, or too sincere. And that's precisely what makes it interesting. For all its polish, Marvel Rivals wasn't left alone. During closed testing, players uncovered references in character dialogue to a fictional rebellion, one that bore a passing resemblance to real-world tensions in Hong Kong. The reaction was swift. American audiences accused the game of being politically compromised, while Chinese players were frustrated by the studio's decision to censor itself and issue an apology quickly, not to them, but to Marvel and its international licensing partners. So despite being a Chinese-developed game, Marvel Rivals was still caught in the gravitational pull of American sensibilities, and while its visual flair suggests what's possible when US corporate mandates don't shackle developers, the controversy shows how...
Yeah, I remember something about... I think it was more like the lefties being mad at the game than the... I don't remember exactly. It's not something I followed because I wasn't really into the game. But I do remember something. It's just kind of crazy.
How fragile that freedom becomes the moment the IP touches American media discourse. What's most telling is that
Is this chick like a smart anti-woker? I give a feeling like she might be one of the only anti-wokers that I agree with.
Marvel Rivals has proven extremely popular since its reveal. The game's vibrant art style, appealing characters, and mechanical clarity
It's just Redditors spurging out over characters. Yeah, agreed.
Have struck a chord with players across regions. That alone debunks the idea that inclusive design must mean dull design. In reality, this is a rare case of a game aligning with what players actually want, because it was allowed even briefly to be built outside of the ideological filter of American risk management. While many American and American-influenced projects have struggled, several European studios have flourished, often by deliberately resisting the trends driving the US market. Their success suggests that the problem isn't Western gaming at all. It's how and where that gaming is managed, ideally away from the US. Larry...
I don't know if it's away from the US. I think there are good US companies out there somewhere, but I think it's the big... massive corporations, right, that are pushing a lot of the same narratives. Like Rockstar, for all of its faults in monetization, always puts out a banger of a game. Like, so they're not part of the problem, but EA generally is part of the problem. So pushing it all on Americans because you're a Brit, I think is a little disingenuous. But we could focus on the big guys in the industry.
Studios based in Belgium is a clear standout. Baldur's Gate 3 launched to universal acclaim in 2023, with praise directed at its depth, polish, and refusal to compromise on player agency. It had no battle pass, no season structure, and no live service model. Instead, Larian focused on building a complete premium game and released it as such. The studio maintained full creative control throughout development, working outside the typical publisher system.
This goes into the idea of like an independent company. Like Larian, I think, has some things, but they're pretty much independent company. They have taken money for stuff like publishers, but they're independent. They're not beholden to the shareholders, you know. Basically the golden crown of a progressive game too. Which game are we talking about? Oh yeah, Larian Studios. Yeah, definitely progressive game, done well, done very well. But now, have you noticed the trend of the anti-wokers bringing up the bear scene and using that as like Stellar Blade is not Stellar Blade's not a Gunnar game because the left like to fuck bears.
And funding the game independently after negotiations with Wizards of the Coast. And the results speak for themselves. Over 10 million copies sold, multiple Game of the Year awards, and a strong word of mouth that continues to this very day. Most notably, the game succeeded without relying on the monetization structures that have become standard across the US market. Another example is Ninja Theory's Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Developed on a modest budget in the UK, the game delivered a cinematic, emotionally resonant experience that received critical praise and sold over 1 million copies within a year. The game was self-funded and self-published, an approach that gave the team freedom to experiment with mature themes and a grounded...
A lot of people gave this game a hard, a hard time, even though it's looking like it did really well. I didn't realize it did that well. The bear scene is only a gotcha because a journalist talked about it. Well, yeah, and it was a journalist who talked about it, and then they made light of it, right? Larian Studios made a joke out of it. But, you know, we can't have jokes if we're talking about something that, you know, we don't like. Suna is a great art.
Narrative-driven focus. Similar
this game.
Like A Plague Tale Requiem from Asobo Studio in France and Control from Remedy in Finland have earned acclaim for strong single-player storytelling.
You're tired? It's okay. It's okay.
From studios operating outside the US, a live service model with fewer layers of executive oversight and a clearer vision from the outset. And the results speak for themselves. All the more poignant is that these successes are not isolated. They show that when European developers retain autonomy without being redirected by American corporate mandates, they can create games that resonate deeply with players. What unites these studios isn't geography, but structure. They're not working under US publisher expectations, and they're not designing around monetization funnels or quarterly growth reports. They're simply making games.
Yes! I've been saying this for years. If they would just make games that the players want, we will come. We will buy them.
One of them creates something that feels like a revelation. Just when it felt like the Western RPG had collapsed under the weight of branding teams and market research, along came Expedition 33, not from Japan, not from Larian, and certainly not from one of the big American publishing houses, but from a modest independent team in Montpellier, France. Developed by Sandful Interactive, Expedition 33 is a turn-based RPG that immediately caught attention with its painterly art style, rich character design, and unabashed romanticism. The developers described it as having a French Belle Epoque flavour, rooted in their own country's artistic heritage rather than the latest Netflix animation pipeline.
Woke, it had black people in it, end of story.
Visually and tonally, it feels like a game from another timeline, one where artists, not data analysts, make design choices.
The masses claim for untitled that game. Yeah.
Cultural identity and no bureaucratic baggage. Sandful CEO Guillaume Broche has been open about their approach, a tightly scoped project guided by a unified creative vision. In interviews, he said that the aim was to create a world that feels lived in and beautiful, not something designed around a seasonal monetization or trend compliance. There's no battle pass, no Hollywood tone matching, and no need to posture. It's just a game. It's also very French, not in a gimmicky, self-conscious way, but in the same way Final Fantasy is unmistakably Japanese. That's what gives it its weight. When a team leans into what they know, their history, their culture, their creative instinct, they tend to make something with a stronger sense of place, something honest. And that's the key difference. One of the reasons so many Japanese games have felt traditionally very cohesive and resonant.
It's how Battlefront 2 keeps breaking Steam records. People want one so bad, a new one. Yeah, the problem with that is because of all the controversy that I think EA got with it, and the fact that they really weren't getting by with being able to monetize it. I don't think that we ever will, unfortunately. You know what, we're just gonna, because I don't think I have the right ones. Here, because like this doesn't go to anything. All right.
Is because they're made by Japanese teams through a Japanese lens. They're not built by a committee to meet a dozen contradictory global demands. They carry flavour, personality, national texture. Western teams are clearly very capable of the same. Expedition 33 proves that. But too often, American-led projects end up so sterilised by HR departments, legal oversight and marketing trends that they forget to reflect anything at all. And that's the tragedy. It's not just that American games are overproduced or risk-averse, it's that they have no clear cultural fingerprint. They're hyper-individualistic to the point of blandness. Everyone's allowed to say a line, but no one's allowed to speak for the group. And in the absence of a shared voice, what's
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Just noise. Something else worth noting briefly is that in the modern games industry, there's a growing trend of hiring people to represent or write about a culture they weren't actually raised in.
Uh-oh. Sweet Baby Inc. reference. Here we go.
Heritage alone qualifies you as a cultural authority, but blood doesn't make you an expert. I'm part Tamil, for instance, but I wasn't brought up with Tamil language, customs, or values. It would be absurd for a studio to hire me to consult on Tamil culture in a video game. And yet this kind of box ticking happens constantly. Someone who's 8 generations removed from Ireland isn't Irish, they're American. And when you start building your games around these flimsy ancestral claims rather than lived cultural knowledge, you don't get representation, you get caricature. But there are exceptions, games that manage to embrace cultural identity without losing creative edge. And few franchises demonstrate that better or more ironically.
Yeah, the consultation companies.
Iconic American series of all time, Grand Theft Auto. Let's be honest, no discussion about the so-called decline of American gaming would be complete without mentioning Grand Theft Auto, arguably the most successful franchise ever produced outside Japan. But despite being set in a fictionalized American city dripping with US cultural references, GTA is not, and never was, a product of American game development. It was born in Dundee, Scotland.
Oh, there we go.
The Grand Theft Auto franchise is a British creation, with the early GTA games being developed by DMA Design, later renamed Rockstar North, and steered creatively by the Houser brothers Dan and Sam, both British. From GTA 3 through Vice City and San Andreas, the series carved out a niche as a razor-sharp satire of American excess. The games are filled with absurd parodies of the absurdities of US consumerism, their hollow media culture, cartoonish crime logic, and constant political hypocrisy. But it wasn't a bitter critique, it was biting and clever in that very British way, observational, ironic, and uncomfortably close to the bone. The fact that these games were developed in the UK mattered. They weren't glorifying the US, they were holding up a mirror. GTA was funny, vulgar, and politically incorrect, not because it was trying to offend, but because it was holding American cultural cliches at arm's length and poking fun at them with a stick. And this outsider lens was the secret to its brilliance. It worked time and time again, and GTA 5, released in 2013, became one of the most successful games of all time, both critically and commercially, but it also marked a turning point. As Rockstar's global expansion accelerated, creative control gradually shifted away from the UK-based Rockstar North and towards its US studios, and, of course, American corporate culture started creeping in. The satire, once precise and culturally aware, became broader, flatter, and safer. GTA Online was a financial juggernaut, but it transformed the series from a clever single-player parody of America into an American-style monetization platform, complete with shark cards, grinding, and seasonal live service fluff. The more successful GTA 5 became, the more control consolidated in New York and California, and the more pressure there was to keep the money machine going.
Yeah, I don't really agree with this point. Like, sure, maybe it became more Americanized and things like that, but it still has the absurdity. It still has the other stuff. Now, like, I agree with the point that it became overly monetized. That is true. They love to monetize that game, but I don't think anyone is really... Unfortunately, no one's really bothered by that, and they have their whales that will, buy all the new content and enjoy it, right? So, I don't think it's failing from the same issues that other games in the industry are failing from.
Reports from former developers.
Like Red Dead 2 kind of didn't show that problem since that's past GTA 5. Well, Red Dead didn't really do all that well for their online service, If there was an issue, it would have been that. Yeah, maybe. Where is that? This one. There we go. So, but yeah, I think she's a little bit off base. I meant culturally. Oh, okay.
Described the environment as becoming increasingly hostile, censored, and sensitive to social media backlash. Creative decisions now pass through layers of HR review, brand protection, and shareholder optics. For many, Den House's departure in 2020 was the final nail. One of the last voices protecting the franchise's cultural identity was gone, and with him, much of what's made GTA subversive and unpredictable. Since then, leaks and industry reports suggest that GTA 6 is being developed under far tighter political scrutiny. Characters are being updated to reflect contemporary values better. The tone is reportedly more grounded, responsible, and globally conscious. In other words, less funny, less risky, and far more American.
Oh, I don't need a Brit telling me what's funny.
I think that a once British series known for mocking American corporate culture now finds itself slowly consumed by it. GTA didn't become worse because of age or scale. It became worse because it's lost its outsider's voice. It stopped being British satire.
But I don't know many people that are saying that. Like, this sounds like a Brit angry that Rockstar became more American. And I guess they don't like it for that reason.
About America.
Definitely a more serious series, but
filtered through legal, marketing, and HR. And in doing so, for me and many others at least, it stopped being the GTA we knew and appreciated. But, to Rockstar's credit, in the modern era they weren't always in retreat. Before that final shift, the studio delivered one last masterwork, a game that didn't parody America but confronted it. A game that embraced the national identity not to sell nostalgia but to interrogate it. I am, of course, talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. To say that Red Dead Redemption 2 is merely a game would be a gross understatement. It's a sprawling operatic experience that uses the American frontier not just as a backdrop, but as a living, breathing character in its own right. Unlike so many modern American titles, which sand off their cultural edges to appease what they believe to be globalized tastes or push vague platitudes, Red Dead Redemption 2 doubles down on its Americanness. Not the Marvel kind, but the complicated, contradictory kind. The kind soaked in blood, mud, hope, and hypocrisy. Now, Red Dead is a true Western game. To me, part of what makes it stand out so much is that it leans into American history rather than avoiding it. It doesn't pretend to be relatable to all cultures or watered down by committees. Instead, it drags players through the ugly, beautiful mess of a dying Wild West, where industrialization crushes frontier dreams and the myth of American exceptionalism unravels through the eyes of a doomed outlaw. This is the United States on the cusp of modernity, presented with a degree of nuance you simply don't get when focus groups or ESG reports are steering the wheel. Rockstar didn't shy away from the contradictions of American history, it wallows in them. You get racism, classism, religious hypocrisy, land theft, the rise of corporate interests, all themes that mirror not only America's past, but its present. And crucially, it doesn't insult your intelligence whilst doing so. You're trusted to make up your own mind about the Van der Linde gang and their choices, about the government agents and the Pinkertons, and about whether the so-called civilized world is any less savage than the one being left behind. The game isn't trying to sell you on America good or America bad. It's not a 2-star Netflix special. It's a slow, deliberate rumination on a nation losing its soul. In a gaming landscape increasingly sterilized by corporate mandates, Red Dead Redemption 2 is proof that letting a game be culturally American, warts and all, can result in something profound rather than problematic. And that only makes the contrast sharper when you look at how other global powers approach game development. Because while American studios often struggle to express their own culture authentically, countries like China are taking a very different path. Not through creative vision, but through strategic investment and control. Both Tencent and NetEase have aggressively expanded into Western and Japanese gaming over the past decade, but the nature of that involvement looks very different from the influence exerted by American publishers. Tencent, for example,
Tencent,
and holds substantial stakes in Epic Games, Activision, Blizzard, Frontier Developments, and even From Software. When
she said American company, I was listening to that and I was like dumbfounded. Like, like, what does it mean by we don't know our own culture? I mean, yes, I understand the whole DEI bad thing that, they're saying here, but all games, yeah, Fallout, there's tons of games out there. And I don't even think, previous titles of Grand Theft Auto don't understand American culture, and it's still even that game has commies as the baddies even till today. Damn straight. It's I don't know. This is one of the points she's not getting me on. She's not. I think she's taking a few games that may be missing it, but the whole Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto in general, I think she's off base there. It's not. Some of them have been more like, yes, less funny, less absurd, I guess. But I don't know that they were ever like a failure under that idea of DEI. Like it had to check boxes, right? Grand Theft Auto has always kind of been that company that didn't really care what people thought, right? Oh shit. So I need to just stop wandering and find something here. Mainly assumptions, yeah.
Tease, meanwhile, has fully acquired Quantic Dream and Grasshopper Manufacture and has also launched its own Western publishing arm, staffed with industry veterans like Jack Emmett, best known for his work on...
I'm also sorry, people talking about Tencent coming in, I don't think this is a good thing, right? Yeah, they have a lot of successful games over in the West, but from my understanding, they have a lot of very heavily monetized games as well. So I'm not 100% sure that the China coming into our gaming industry is what's gonna cause it to become better. Oh goodness.
Superhero MMOs such as City of Heroes, City of Villains, and Champions Online during his time as CEO of Cryptic Studios. Yet, despite this deep financial involvement, the Chinese firms have generally taken a hands-off approach to creative direction. In most cases, they allow studios to retain operational autonomy and avoid imposing specific political or ideological narratives. Their influence is strategic and market-driven, not cultural.
Oh, there it is.
These companies want returns on their investments, but they typically don't interfere with how those games are written, structured, or marketed. At least not outside China. This is in sharp contrast to the model increasingly seen from US firms, where funding often comes with strings attached, compliance with DEI targets, ideological vetting, or content filtered through a specific socio-political lens. It's not just about turning a profit.
People that are anti-Tencent are suspiciously in favor of them. Hey, what's going on, Grizzle?
Yeah, I figured I'd actually talk to you a voice because it's probably easier.
Yeah.
I find it funny she's using League. League is an interesting case though.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is very much heavily owned by Tencent. None of the writers are in China though.
Really? That I did not know.
Yeah. League was born in America, and all its writers currently are all like here.
Well,
they do Pride Fest in this game, man.
Yeah, it was born off of Dota, which was born off of Blizzard's.
It was a mod for Warcraft 3.
Yeah, Warcraft 3. So, it's always kind of been American. So yeah.
Now, they're funny because they basically pander to like every freaking buddy. You know how many people that game is a progenitor to me of complaining about how all the female characters look the same, because to this day it's still a problem.
Yeah.
And nobody doesn't want them not to be sexy or anything, but they sometimes almost have indistinguishable faces. It becomes like, oh, this new skin just looks like another lady.
Yeah, well, it's that failing that's kind of you're seeing in a lot of these games. Like I saw someone talking about it the other day, where all the Asian women are like the same basic Asian. We joke about white guy number 4, but it's kind of becoming the point, like, this is just Asian lady number 1,
Yeah,
So-
it's just weird though in that regard, because like, yeah, Valorant is also hella woke and is also excruciatingly successful.
Yeah.
Which that game gets away with some of the worst, most priciest MTX on the planet, and it's so funny that nobody ever talks about it. Like, to get like a 5-pack gun skin, you're buying to get like a 5-pack skin, you're spending like $80.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah,
but
people buy it.
Well, that's the thing. People buy it, and you look at like, the problem is if a game is good and successful, people tend to care less about the microtransactions, which sucks in some cases. But I mean, even Blizzard was selling $60 skins for stuff. Oh, that's not enough.
Oh, for Diablo 4 had some pricey skins.
Yeah, Diablo 4 had some pricey ones. So it's
crossover stuff.
The finals has wokish elements too, body types, and is relatively successful. Yeah, that's the thing, is like, she is digging a little hard into the DEI. I think the stronger argument is the corporatization.
It's because it's like, yeah, it's people, they see progressive elements are remotely like popular in terms of like social media space, and they just go a little bit too hammy on it in the video games, and then basically get blamed for it because they just decided to be dumb about it.
Yeah, I think it happened in 2020 was the big turn for it, because
2020,
yeah, everyone was online, everyone was complaining about this and that, and it was the kind of the real pinnacle of like the SJW woke kind of stuff, and they took it to heart. Circuit overload. There we go. And it created this experience. And the thing is like, people don't realize, like, these super massive countries or not companies don't turn on a dime, right? They're very slow to act. Like, these games are games that they started making in 2020 or earlier. So they're having to put them out to at least get, hopefully, their money back.
Yeah.
But a lot of good.
Riot, man.
Riot is something else.
Done is introduce gacha to League for some of their skins. I have such a word on that. Everybody hates it, but I don't think nothing can be stopped about it, because those are like $200 skins.
Yeah,
literally, they just came out with one recently, and I saw a person in the game I'm in. I'm like, SMH? You kidding me?
Someone will buy it. There's always a whale. There's always a whale.
Expensive version. The most expensive. It's $500.
Didn't they have one they tried to do for 2,000 or something like that?
No, I would have heard that one.
I thought they did, like, the $500 one was super expensive.
That was the first time, and they even included a new buying option for their currency that's like $300. I'm like, are you? I have never seen that in a game before, where it's like you can spend almost $500.
Yeah, right. Just for a skin that if the game shuts down, you're never going to get to see again.
That game, at least confidently, would probably take a century before it gets shut down.
Yeah. Wasn't the $500 USD one was a bundle with a figurine? Was it? That's still a lot of money, though, for a skin and a figurine.
Remember, it was it was last year's Ari skin. Yeah. It was the signature edition.
Yeah, I remember it was Ari.
Because of they're doing that yearly now, I guess, where they're just doing like a battle pass or whatever, and then some sort of like the battle pass tells a story also about that player's journey, and it leads into a skin that's just like, oh, this is their character, I guess they picked out to get this skin.
Yeah.
And that's the one that's like giga pricey. Like, I'm looking at it right now. Purchase RP.
Yeah, it was. They say
$429.
Jesus.
If you want to purchase this skin, let me see it. To get this skin, how much actually? You need to. That's $600. That's it. Okay, so it is $450 if you want to buy.
That's still, yeah. And what their thing was like, it's justified. It's that good a skin.
It's apparently justified because
oh goodness.
Again, but what's crazy is they're also doing these things now called they're like they used to do ultimate skins, which were like $40 skins, but they were always supposed to be like special because there was like extra work or the model had like multiple forms and transformations. They were basically special events and people loved that.
Mm-hmm.
They were expensive, but you never felt jibbed.
Yeah.
It felt special. And they said the excuse that they stopped making them was because it took too much effort. And then lo and behold, in the year 2024, we're getting these $200 gacha skins.
Yeah, right. Oh, I guess it wasn't that much of an effort.
And half the time, Riot's Riot. They're greedy motherfuckers.
Oh, 100%.
They're very reactive. Mainly because the League community is so big, they're almost hard to ignore it.
Yeah,
They will complain.
Well, League is... They're the most toxic fandom that's out there.
You anger them, you're just gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have played my fair share of League. I didn't do any, like, I wouldn't get into what's it called?
ARAM's where all the racists are at, but I play it still. Because I don't care. I'm like, you're an ARAM being racist. You're that mad,
right? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little racism every now and again, right? It builds character.
Never when I'm playing any of the black characters somehow.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I will give it to them. Riot does make some good designs for like when they do anything progressive. Like they never gimp on that. Like they made that black woman from Arcane and Bessa, and she's fucking badass. So.
Oh yeah, that was such a. Arcane was still one of my favorites. Like a lot of the normal characters hated on.
Melody Mac got so mad.
Did you?
I'm like, bitch, do you not know that people have been shipping these two for like a decade?
I mean,
so old though.
You act like shipping is a big deal. Melanie Mac big in 2025. Yeah, she's something in 2025.
She has her own fan base now, which I'm pretty sure are just Christian men who are hella thirsty for this woman.
Oh yeah, it's got to be. That's the only thing that I could think of.
She lost the Gamergate audience mainly because porn bad.
Yeah, yeah. Once she did that, that was the end of her career. Sinful Simpers
channel now. You saw that?
Yeah, I've seen her Bible channel.
Well, which good on her, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, well, I was talking to a few people about it, and I've seen talks about it online. Like she's a born again Christian, and she fits. Like
yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, I'm we'll say a bad Christian. I don't read my Bible enough, but I've been in churches long enough that I've met those type of Christians, basically. They're born again, and they're interesting. They're usually from like really dark backgrounds too, drugs, alcohol.
What happened to her though? Like, I can't possibly have been that she got broken up by her husband because he was gay.
Yeah,
like, did that really shatter her?
I mean, it could. Well, okay.
She needs to be woke. Like, she was 100% woke this, woke that, and then it's like something happened in like between 2020 and like now, and then she like fucking fell apart.
Yeah. Well, imagine this. Imagine this. You're because I can think of this from like her point of view a little bit. Imagine being a straight woman with your husband. You're trying to have a family. You think everything's good and all to go, and then suddenly he comes out as gay, the person that you loved, that was supposed to be with ever, and it makes you think, like, did I turn him gay? Was I so bad?
I have my own version of that.
No, do you? We'll save that for an off stream, I think.
Yeah. It's more about strange positionship between two men.
Oh no.
That changed through my first long relationship.
Oh, okay. Was he straight and you stole him from somebody? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I was just saying, like...
Home wrecker.
No. I will say I've encountered some married men in my endeavors. And I've been like, man... Sir. I mean, I never went to their home, so...
Gazing home wrecker. Yeah, that's right. He's a home wrecker. All right, so, okay. We'll get a little...
Married men with children out there.
Probably.
A lot. It's sad almost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could be bi too, I guess, but it's just like, I don't know.
Well, that got wildly off topic, but yeah, you know.
It's spicy night, man.
Yeah, hey, whatever. It's we're almost done with this one anyway. I think I've got the point of it. It's call-in night, right? And it looks like Vincent got a little upset that you came on. He's hissing at you earlier.
I think it was about a League, because League is a spicy subject.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
You hate it and you love it, or not.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, that was the thing, like... I absolutely hated it sometimes. Like, I get so angry. It's one of the few games that I actually rage quit on.
I Nirvana'd myself with it, I think, finally, because I just like want to play my characters. I spent probably $5,000 on this game collectively.
Mm-hmm. Oof. Ouch. See, I never spent that much. I think...
I don't know.
I only...
There's a website you can look, so...
Yeah. And I only played, really... I was jungle. I only played, Nuru and... Nuru and, the big snowman guy. The big abominable.
Yeah.
That was my...
I think an 80 carry coming out next.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I like playing 80 carries. But that's because I like playing very aggro, because I don't think you can do anything in that game without making decisions for people.
Oh, well, yeah. If you're gonna play on a team in that game, you've got to at least try and carry.
Yeah.
I remember getting like one of the first games I was playing. I was starting to understand the mechanics a bit more, and I was jungling the bottom because they were winning the hardest and kind of ignoring the top a little bit.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
That's right. Well, he got mad. He put it in chat. He's like, "You're not even coming my direction," and I'm like, "Hey, I'm working on bottom. Just hold off. Once I get that tower done, I'm going in." And then he just completely stopped playing. So it was 4v5. We still almost won.
Yeah. It's so annoying because, like, that happened to me so much when I was almost got diamond. And I would have probably just never played again. Because I got plat 1 like 3 seasons in a row. But I kept having AFKs non fucking stop.
Yeah. The problems with online games.
Anyway, Riot does pretty good progressive stuff, I think. They're woke, but I don't think it really hurts their games, I would say.
Right. I mean, it comes down to the idea that if it's good and it's woke, then there's nothing wrong with it, right?
And they're fair. I think they I don't even like to say the word. They give content to basically everyone.
Yeah.
Like, they come out with sexy skins, they come up with, LGBT characters, plenty.
Right.
And nothing's particularly felt like it's taken away from anything. Which is really, I think, what anybody wants, is not to feel like a game took away from a quality of something.
I also think the anti-wokers in general would be afraid to go after that game. just because of the audience.
I mean, it's Pride Month. They do it literally every year now. The front page shows all their gay characters, and you get like if you use one of their icons of the many like pride flags, you get a little trail when you're you get the movement speed in them.
Interesting.
I'm running out of breath, but that's only on during Pride though.
Yeah, it's just that shows that they're the whole Pride thing is retarded, and it's such a small thing, even though it encompasses an entire month and there are parades and stuff like that. Like I can have arguments like I don't like the kink and pride stuff, right?
People need to label whether or not it's 18 plus on these events. That's important.
Yes, and if the events are out and
responsible for that. Some places do a good job of private, like putting up walls and junk.
Yeah, yeah.
I know some places do that. But if it's the one that's like downtown, middle America, it probably needs to just not have that.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. If you're doing it in a very location place, then yeah.
Make the street famous and people will avoid it.
Yeah, you're talking about like what's it called?
Folsom.
Well, down here in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, like Bourbon Street.
Bourbon Street. You know, people know not to take their kids down there.
Yeah. Which, ugh, that reminds me of. Actually, I think that's more like that event. I'm rambling now.
Yeah, it's all right. You're getting tired. But yeah, you get. I liked Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street was always fun when I went there.
It was. I will say I'm as gay can be, but my funniest thing I did during Bourbon Street was do Jello shots out of someone's chest.
That's still very gay, in my opinion. Like you could be gay and do that.
I was drunk already when that happened. Yeah. And then like my friend who was with me, who wasn't, they were trying to get like $20 from me, and he like told me to just walk away. He did that while his dad was trying to give them $20 also.
Oh, that's funny.
But he didn't care. He just wanted me to not lose my money.
Drunk. I haven't gone out and gone drinking in forever. I'm too old.
Old. Yeah.
Too old and broken and falling apart.
Oh no.
I do not understand.
I'm trying to think of like even what was really woke is actually bad this year. Like I wouldn't even call Firewatch that. I think that one's weird. I don't think anybody thought that game might have issues.
Yeah, but it's like, is it woke or is it?
So I haven't seen a thing about it. So I'm gonna assume no.
Tired Kimoji's coming after you. He said, "It's okay, Grandma. It's almost bedtime." Yeah, we got about 15 minutes to end it up. Kimoji, you want to come on? Anyone else want to jump on the last 15 minutes?
What was terminally woke this year that actually failed? I can't think of anything actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this year's still in here, but yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a huge amount.
Like last year's, which ended up proving that
can't talk literally. Yeah. I mean, you had the anti-woke have started dying because that idea of woke is just kind of done. It's
more than what they think it is. Like it may be a part of it, but not the gargantuan effect of it.
Yeah, it's
they don't other talk about anything else.
True.
That's what it is. These talks are so boring. That's why I just hate Grums, because he's just teaching people how to just dumb.
Yeah. Well, I personally think he has no connections in the gaming industry at all.
Not anymore.
That it's all just
vibes.
Vibes, yeah. Well, he's been abandoned. Like people know he's such a he's a terrible game designer. He
should be live streaming. I don't understand why nobody in his posse circle, they're all streaming. They'll have YouTube channels. They sometimes play games on stream. He doesn't. Like,
no.
What is that?
I don't understand why he doesn't try and go for that more, because he could probably build a decent audience.
He could have Asmongold get on fucking cloud or something.
He could be lazy though. Maybe he's just lazy. He doesn't want to do that kind of work.
Maybe he's afraid of getting too big.
Oh, that could be it too. He could be
like then he's in the limelight. There's so much like damning shit now on his ass that like you have to actually answer. He has to answer. He's still, to me, I'm never gonna give up until he actually answers about League for Gamers. You can't fathomably make a parody about freedom of speech for gamers, your whole brand, and then completely lie about it on stream to fucking Endy and Smash and all of them. I'm still mad about that. They just kind of let that go. And he lied to. And he just there's no pride or anything in that. Are you not ashamed that you got lied to by your guy?
Nope, they don't care. I mean, it's pretty much like Sutter and Craig said it best. They're like, I don't care that he did that. He says the right words. That's all there is to it at this point.
Which now it's like you don't. How's that not virtue signaling?
It is, but they'll never admit it. They don't like to say the wokey words because
I know.
Because
It's like they're all
no
journalists
reason.
themselves now, too, arguably. All
Yeah.
they talk about is games, and they try to write up about it. They should do short. They're short form journalists, is what I would call them.
Shame is a poor man's quality. But yeah, they're journalists who aren't even good at journalism. Like it's basically like I said in one of my last streams. We traded bad journalism for worse journalism.
Yeah, basically. Like honestly, I hate Paul Tassi, but I don't think he's stupid or racist.
No, yeah.
I can't believe they did that. Did they just not see that they sounded like XJWs? Or they kept like, I'm like, hello.
Well, it's
they're like, why are you so racist? Our Asians don't matter. I'm like, are you kidding? Do you guys not hear what you sound like?
I mean, it's a common thing, and like you, especially since I've been looking at Smash a lot lately, it's so feel my pain. It's just so obvious that they don't like. It's so Smash will say one thing and then do that thing that he said. You know.
And then Apic Eric is so obvious that he's just sad that he has no presence, that he needs Smash.
Yep, he needs Smash. He needs
so bad to be relevant.
he needs he needs Smash to be relevant. He needs to talk about Alyssa McConte because that's all Smash talks about.
That's all he talks about. Yeah, that's literally like every time I see him tweet, it's like he doesn't talk about anything but defending Smash or not. I'm like, dude, dude, you're being weird now. Poor Andy Pants. I don't even hear anything about him anymore.
Neither do I. He's fallen into irrelevancy. His game is just a complete failure.
Which I mean, I feel bad almost for that because I'm like, I there's people hunting his game down everywhere, and I'm like, is that cancel culture? Yeah. But you kind of brought this on yourself.
True.
You could have done anything to avoid. If you can't make it on Steam, you need to just follow Steam's rules, man.
Dude, I mean,
just named it anything else than that.
8-Bit Eric being the side affair. Well, yeah, like if you can't make it on Steam, a game that had Mercy up, what does that say? Like, and here's the thing: I don't think, like me personally, I don't think it had anything to do with the content of the game, right?
No, it's too milky toasty. It's definitely that title and the art.
Yeah, or he didn't disclose AI or something that made it irrelevant, like made it not playable for them. But Steam was like, nope, not doing that. But what are you gonna do? Blue Archive got denied apparently. Who's Blue Archive? Have I talked to them before?
Oh, but yeah, it was really funny how like Smash was having like a fit about her mentioning that he wanted to like risk his family, and then all his comments are ignoring that fact that you know they see her in Tilt and don't think about what Smash is doing to harm. They're being fed a perfect image of this whole case, but not the whole image. Like they need to watch either you and McDizzle go through that.
Yeah, I mean it's so
because he's a self-fulfilled prophecy. She had no case, but then he kind of created one almost.
Yeah,
he basically created one.
Well, she might have had a slim case in the beginning from the previous year, but in the last 6 months, he's done more videos on her than like he's only amplifying that idea that she's getting harassed, and that's where I think, because I'm normally because
every time she does, it's like anytime he does anything, they just keep making content, and it's like over anything too. Especially the fact that he has a guy who's continuously in his comments just AI generating weird shit of that woman. I'm like, you should really tell that guy to maybe not
do that.
Consistent. It's too consistent. It's every single comment. Every time he does anything, he posts a creepy AI generated like video of her, and I'm like, okay, you should probably like again distance yourself from that.
Yeah, right. Like it's becoming a problem where people are.
Also, like the Epic Eric was watching that airbag doxing account, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, dude. I see.
Well, they signal boost their own stuff, right?
Oh yeah, they're like a circle of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's why I got so irritated with Nobody. Like I want to see if I can get him back on, and go over that whole situation, because I think it's so disingenuous, and he's just doing it for clout. Let's see here. Oh, look, there they are. Why is my shield not up? There we go. No. The Black Dumpling guy. Oh yeah. The game from Nexon. What game from Nexon? Oh, Blue Archive is the game from Nexon. That's right. Let me go look up. Boop, boop, boo. Blue Archive. I've been so deep in the Smash JT lore that I haven't paid attention to anything else.
Obviously.
Well, I watched
You're more informed than most people now, so.
Yeah, that's true, and it gives me the ability to bring stuff up. Like I said, they don't answer the questions I ask. They never will.
Yeah, it's a lot of them are like that. I've noticed they just don't answer anything.
Yeah.
Like, Grums is a king of it, obviously, because he can't, because, you know.
Well, he he blocks. He doesn't block people generally, but he blocks everybody, right?
Maybe because I mentioned that Trump turned off the tariffs when he was doing his calculations. He called me a jackass and blocked me. And I'm like, is that really what gets me blocked?
Right, something so small. Mine was that he made that long post about, like, I understand this is hard, I understand that's hard, and I tweet 24 hours a day and blah 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 blah. So I just kind of like mocked it back and said, yeah, I understand you think tweeting is hard. It's stuff like that. He blocked me.
I did wonder what he does for work, unless this legit is his work and the backers' money. Because how is he paying for like rent or something?
I don't know.
Like, he doesn't have a job.
I don't know how much he's milking constantly off of the backers. Like 600,000 is what they know of at the moment.
I thought it was 60 fucking K. That's crazy to me. That was an extra zero.
Yep. So
600K for anything, you can make an indie game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, people have made indie games on less.
Yeah, like there's just no way that he's just this way.
I mean, there is. If you really look at it, he's not he shouldn't be in a leadership position for things, and that's why he's not.
Blacklisted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% sure he's blacklisted because there's just no way he's unhireable.
Thank you, Kamoji. It's not a grift. Please subscribe. Yes, please subscribe. It's time to do a little shilling. Please subscribe if you haven't liked it. Like the video. We do all sorts of woke and anti-woke grifting on this channel while playing video games badly.
Now, my thing I saw him do today, which was Pirate's fault, was I guess Valorant was doing like a patch update video, and they had like a trans person on there.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was so funny because I was just I look at Pirate stuff to kind of keep up with what the hell is he doing, because he's kind of Grums' proxy, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because I know he only watches that account for news because it's really obvious. But there was like, he says, "What is that?" And the video got deleted, or the tweet got deleted. So I was curious, what was that? And it was a fan account posting a dev blog that had the person on there just talking about nothing really but data. It was like, I thought it was going to be like something really like spooky, like, oh, you know, it's Pride, blah blah blah. No, they're just talking about balance changes, and I guess the account deleted it because Pirate Co tweeted it because they knew probably gonna get harassment and be weird in the comments.
Yeah,
and some person, at least one of his watchers, saved the video. He uploaded it, and then Grump's like, "Why did you delete the video?" I'm like, "Because y'all are being weird."
Why else?
You're just like, what did they do? they just look weird, I guess.
Yeah, they're just.
I get. I'm like, I don't even think there's no way to. I don't even think they were trans. I think they were just like feminine presenting.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, this is what I mean. It's like, you guys can't do that. You can't complain, woe is me, I get harassed for just talking about video games.
Yeah.
And then like someone who's not norm doesn't even have a social media account. They're just talking. You can't do that. You can't just mock people for just how they. It's like they didn't learn from the Indiana Jones situation still.
Right.
That always pisses me off.
I have no problem, like, honestly, I have no problem with mocking people, right? But I also believe that while I mock people, I can at least give some kind of critical analysis of what they're doing. You know, I can still have a good take while mocking somebody for being wretched, or, you know, whatever you want to say.
Looks is such a bare bones thing. I thought, you know, we went past a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like, Ground's mocking someone for looks, please.
Oh, yeah, let's let's throw in stones in glass houses.
God.
Oh no! Oh no!
But yeah, overall this year again, there was no Dustborn, I guess is a good word.
Yeah, there hasn't really been. Dustborn, I hate the analogy. Like,
unfortunately close, I guess. I don't want to say I hate using that. I hate calling any potential flop fucking Concord. Like, Pirate called the FTC Firebreak not doing well Concord, and I'm like, shut up.
Well, that's the go-to now. It's easy to try and call something the next Concord, and
so lame.
Yeah, pot calling the kettle blacked. Good call, Vincent. It's the problem with Concord. Like, Concord did not fail because of its. Well, I can't say that the wokeism didn't have some relevance to it, because it was.
You could pinpoint the culture with the measures.
Yeah. But you can also point towards it being a $40 game in a free-to-play market. Nothing new or interesting brought to the franchise. Copying Guardians of the Galaxy. It was
with no style.
Yeah, with no style. It was just everything that they could have done wrong. What leak?
Did you see that? Apparently a version of Concord, like an early version of Concord, got leaked. And the art style is not the same, really. It's realistic, but not the same.
Oh yeah.
Let me find it. I'll find a picture.
Yeah, find a picture of it. We'll bring that up. Or we've got 3 minutes. No. So.
Let's see. Slot posting, blah blah blah.
Posting.
I like how they're having a mental breakdown over that one bad review for Death Stranding 2.
Yeah. Oh, was there one bad review? That's something I gotta go look up too.
Yeah, it was GameSpot gave it a 7, and they had this whole list of things that they're critical about it. But they had to include fucking the words tropes about women.
Oh, I think I did see a little bit of that.
And I'm like, why are you guys just giving this attention? Like, nobody cares, man.
Well, it's like, you know what's going to set off the anti-woke. But it's GameSpot, you know. And another thing people don't realize is, like, journalists are usually out of college, and college tends to have a very lefty-leaning, you know, side. It tends to be more lefty than righty.
I put it in general.
Okay, let me go pull it up here.
That character is neat, though.
Where are you, Discord? No, don't switch.
Sector Red. Sandstorm is approaching.
Another sandstorm approaching. Pre-release. Oh, this is wow. That looks way better.
Yeah, like I don't know. It just looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Some of the same characters are in it though.
Yeah. Well, like, yes, there were some very woke characters. No one ever really even talked about the woke characters that I saw.
The one big black lady, which not technically a bad design. It just, God, why? Why would you pick the green and then blue lipstick?
Yeah. I mean, the character creation, like the character designs, were just bad. But I did read the trans woman. Her backstory was
the fucking ad on them, by the way. What the fuck?
Oh, what is it doing?
Oh, it's gone now.
Was it a TOS ad?
No, it was just one of those like weird, like you pull the pin and lava falls down shit.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Except it was in the shape of like a very feminine lady.
Those ones have gotten like more and more like they're trying to appeal to 13-year-old boys.
Yeah. God, and we saw the Andy Pants video where he's talking about every game that happened. He's definitely probably had a black lady yell at him once in his life. and he took it to heart.
Yeah, I would say so. So here's the thing: like you look at his past, and he was on the opposite side. He was like, not soy perhaps, but being like, it doesn't matter that black women are in games. And then the moment he got a little bit of money, it went full on. Like he's the only one I can call like a true. I would say is like a true racist grift. Like he's just straight up, goes for it. Blacks, gays, women, they're all evil.
Yeah, considering that he's like gone to the ends of the earth through it, and the fact that he made that game, it's definitely not a grift anymore.
No,
it is a little wacky.
He believes what he says. He's that's a whole different kind of Christian. Like he's Westboro Baptist Church bad.
Oh yeah, he's Westboro.
He went from shilling Redfall to becoming a Grand Wizard. That's true.
Yeah, like, what happened there? He's also like heavily. He made a whole Deborah Wilson video. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I'm gonna have to watch that. I love watching Andy Pants videos. They make me laugh. The first couple of times you watch him, it's like hilarious, and then you realize he actually believes this, and it gets sad.
You're just in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why Grumps and them couldn't. The fact that he got ignored by all of Gamergate is sad, but also typical. They couldn't even defend his ass. His game was being hunted down by everybody, and then the only person that tried, I think, is good old John F. Trent.
John F. Trent. No, there was. Oh, well, you talking about the anti-woke side? Because I know John Delarose. Oh, of course he did.
Why are they both Johns?
I don't know. It's something about Johns, I guess. Well, who was the trans Doomer something or other played it? Dead Domain. That's right.
Yeah, they played the whole thing.
Yeah. So
I'm like, that's really hilarious, actually. Yeah. And ironic.
All right, but anyway. Yeah. But anyway, it's getting towards that time, so I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna try and stream a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
For things like I talked to the wifey and I got permission to
it's also Monday, so
to do it at 8, and I'm gonna try and be more consistent this year.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna start keeping, for anyone out there in comms, I'm gonna keep myself in like Discord open, so I'll take calls if people want to come. That way, if an anti-woker wants to pop in, which they probably won't, nobody might. No, until
if an anti-woker pops in.
That's fine. If I have to, I'll just kick you out.
Wow.
In a heartbeat.
I don't think I've ever been that bad.
No, you haven't been so far.
I keep my arguing down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even on Twitter, I'm like, okay, I don't want to argue. I don't want to make anybody's watching me suffer.
Yeah. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with it. And you've been funny a few times. Quite a few times. did. Oh my goodness. But anyways, I'm gonna go to bed because I'm an old man. Thanks everybody for coming by. Always fun talking to you, Grizzle. So we'll do more.
Well, you made me mod. I should hang out. So.
Yeah. I
I'll
might
hang out my friends Discord.
I might have to do the same to Kimoji and maybe Vincent. We'll see. We'll see on Vincent. I'm still
Maybe
up in the air about
Vincent's on thin ice.
we'll see how he does with Queeman watching his video and wanting to talk to him, and then we'll make our decision because he says I'm a Queeman simp.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Queeman's a he's a streamer. He's a drama streamer.
Oh, I thought this was like a descriptor for someone.
No, yeah, he's a drama streamer.
I don't know. That sounds bad.
A lot of people don't like Queeman because he tends to be very aggressive, and in the past he has defended Lolly, but in Dickers and all. Dickers is
I said yuckers.
Oh, yuckers. I thought you were like, how do you know Dickers but not Queeman?
I don't know Dickers.
It's the drama side that I come from. Well, I'm ending this.
Oh yeah, before
because I'm gonna go to bed because I'll talk to you all night about dumb stuff. But I'll be on Wednesday, so everyone in the audience, come on by, like the stream, and subscribe before you leave, and we will do this again. All right, later, Grizzle.
Good night.